Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stronghold Beginners Academy Showcase. Once again, I am here, it is the familiar voice of the Academy Showcase, Snug Kieran. And I am here accompanied by Rose of Battle.
Yeah, so excited to be here. I love watching people new to competitive Splatoon battle it out. So this is the perfect place to be for that.
Indeed it is. So, as a reminder for everybody who is, new to watching the SBA is is a program where we take players who are new to competitive, we take them on for a 6-week period, and we teach them just about everything that there is to being a competitive player and a competitive team. We give them coaching, guidance, and courses on how the competitive scene functions to allow them to become self-sufficient competitive players. Now we have a set of the set of teams here have gone through the program. Well, every single team here today for the showcase has gone through that program. So, well, we're interested to see the end result. That's for sure.
Yeah, they've been playing together for 6 weeks, along with the advising from a manager, a coach, and we're excited to see what they have to show us for this showcase. Year Zero finished 4th in their mid-season, so I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna show us today. I feel like we gotta look at the court of Yoni Lawagawi. do you want to say what their full name was that they thought they might be able to get away with?
Okay, yeah, I'll rat them out. Yeah, the full name for court is yeah, our name is long, we are getting away with it. Parentheses and notes, they did not get away with it. Thank you, Fizz. So
They thought they'd get it, but no.
you ain't sneaky, bud. But yeah, okay. So as a quick reminder, if you are interested at all in competitive, I will let you know that sign-ups for the next season of the academy are already open. They should be open either right now or relatively soon once the bracket starts. So if you have any inclination to wanting to play competitive and you don't know where to get your start, feel free to click the links in the doobly-doos or where the links are provided for the next season signups. We consider every single application and review them all. So everybody has a fair chance.
Yeah, and if you're brand new and you have no friends right now, to be not like full stop no friends, but if you have like no friends in Splatoon, you're like, I don't have any teammates to sign up with for tournaments, that's okay. You can sign up on your own and you're gonna get grouped with people, and then hopefully you'll make some new friends and you'll learn a lot about competitive Splatoon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the team manager coach pairs take into careful consideration who to pair with who at least to attempt to create good pairings to present a fun initial experience. So if you don't have anybody to start with, this is a perfect what would it be, stepping stone or a launch pad, I think is the best way to say it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So both teams are getting set up into a lobby now, and I'm just looking at what we might see from the players based on some weapons that they've selected for their profiles on Sendo. And I'm seeing Year Zero. We might have some dapples coming out from Sean, which I really love to see. Juju might also be on some dualies, but probably some different ones with a little bit more range. We might see a Nautilus. We might see a Hydra coming out from Norman over on Year Zero.
I mean, Hydra's always fun. Like, you can't deny it. Hydra is always fun. So, I'm definitely interested to see where that goes. Although,
yeah, it's so good. It's just like holding the line. I'm gonna, I've got a long charge up time, but when it is fully charged, the ink is going to be spraying for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah.
Looks like we're
I have personally worked with a
plot.
Yeah, indeed. Towering Block's a classic. It's nothing too complicated, but it is the literal definition of an uphill battle when it comes to a tower map. There is little room to move around the objective outside of some, what would it be? Pretty exposed flanking maneuvers, especially if you're trying to get up to the plat.
Yeah, and hiding is really, really key. I've noticed from my own experiences, a lot of aggressive teams tend to really favor playing tower control on this map in particular. But if you go too far forward and don't keep an eye on the tower, somebody might do a flank from behind and get ya. So heading on in tier 4, our round 1 groups, Swiss playoff 3 between Year Zero and Court of Yonelawagi. What comps do we have here?
Oh boy. This is, well, let's get stuck in, shall we? So we have some, double dually actually, very mobile comp on the side of Year Zero. Whereas Court has got a relatively standard composition outside of the Hydra, but unfortunately Court is going to go down very quickly and lose 2 members. Their 2 frontliners have already fallen. And we already have a reslider come out too, but that also goes down. That is a bit of a neutral start, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like it's
Year Zero's, like, their comp is super interesting. They don't have a traditional backline here. The Nautilus is going to be sort of serving that role as like a pseudo anchor here, but absolutely does not have the range of a Hydra. But this can be a very aggressive tower control map, so as long as they're aware of where that Hydra is over on Court of Yonelawagi's team, they could be okay, but it is going to be Court of Yonelawagi who is moving forward, getting a Zuka kill off of that, trying to get a second one, didn't get it, but able to push forward here. This Carbon might get a triple here. There it is! What in the world?
I mean, it's a typical Carbon moment. It's tower control. The Carbon playing ahead is something to be expected, but unfortunately nobody's ready for the Carbon to just materialize a strong triple splashdown to stop the tower where it goes, and a full wipe to reset the game state. However, Year Zero has a bit of ground to cover, but they're already painting ahead of themselves. It's going to be relatively difficult to get anything started out of just that, because they are already back on their plat when it comes to Court.
Alright, you can see Sean trying to get the jump here. He's able to do so, but goes down to that stray suction bomb. However, 2 members are down on Court of Yonelawagi's side. Another one going down on Year Zero, so things are in a bit of a neutral state right now. There's that Reef Slider going to come out, gonna get a fellow dually out, and that is another pick from the Dread. Good poking in through that middle area of this map. It looks, and you know, they're at 44 at this point. It's not a safe lead by any means if the other team can get in, but if you hold that midsection, then how is the team going to push forward?
I agree. Getting the tower out of mid onto the enemy plat is definitely one of the hardest parts of this map, especially when it comes to a team like this for Year Zero, who does not have a cooler, meaning that their comp is relatively aggressive, but getting the ball rolling is the biggest problem. Because if one of your frontliners fall, unfortunately your entire team is made out of frontliners, you've got nothing to fall back on. A devious, that's the second time that's happened. Oh my goodness. Unfortunate. The Dread just has a way of getting to the right and just killing people with their reslider.
Yeah, the Dread Cuddle here has been doing a great job on spacing themselves for these Reef Sliders, which are going to work really well on those frontliners over on Year Zero's team when you catch them off guard.
Yeah, catching them off guard, I mean, it's one of the best times to use a Reef Slider is when people aren't expecting it. And most people only expect it on zones, which is fair enough. However, Court is still just holding their ground extremely strong. And they are not intent on getting away. This Dread is being the Dooley's nemesis. Like, they cannot stand anywhere without the Dread sloshing at them. And the other 2 players are trying to slowly trickle back in to stop the objective. They do get 1 pick. And now they're going to be able to stop the tower. They force them off, but a drop from the Carbon is going to result in a swift elimination.
Yeah, you just see how much range Court of Yonelawagi has. They don't need to really put themselves in danger too much, so long as they're not going to get run down by this super aggressive, fast, double dualies comp over on Year Zero. So long as they can keep that spacing. And when you've got a Dread who also can, outspace all of those front lines, so long as you're aware of where everybody is, you can absolutely hold this down. And then here comes that Reef Slide again. Not able to get a huge pick here, but at this point, they've got less than a minute to go. If they just keep poking the tower and don't give up too much ground, they're golden.
Yeah, incredibly early ink strikes just to get some, just to maybe to create some space. Whale does also come out, but it's a very, very big special dump. And now all they've got is going to be a triple splashdown, but it looks like it might be in a position. If you can see, the Enperi Duelist is already up on plat with it. What are they going to do with it? Oh,
Here
wait,
it
they're
is!
about to go with it. Never mind. They switched. There is 2 down on the side of course, and this may actually be the opening that Year Zero needs. Never mind, their tower runner goes down. They're trying to contest the Carbon.
Oh.
Yes, they do. They do get them. The Hydra is setting up at the back. They need to deal with him, and they need to dislodge them very quickly. Otherwise, it's going to end poorly with a Booyah Bomb almost halfway charged. This could go poorly. But, oh no!
Could. Oh, getting
no!
that pick off, getting another pick off. They need to get on the tower. They stop it. No, it's still counting down. They just need to clear this checkpoint, and they will get the lead in overtime. It's cleared. Just a couple more seconds.
Oh no! It's 1 point! It's 1 point! This is the first game, guys! What are we doing? Why is the first game of this showcase always 1 point? This has happened before! Stop playing with my heart!
Meme.
Not again! It's happening again! Oh my goodness, incredibly well played for both teams. Oh
That
my
was
goodness.
neck and neck. You know, it took Year Zero a really long time to finally get their push going. Once they got it going, it kept going. I was actually on the edge of my seat, really unsure if they were going to get that lead in overtime. It looked like they were about to, but just no, they tied it up. But because they were the second team to get to, I forget if it was like the 43 or 44 mark, just wasn't enough. They needed to be on there just a little bit longer. So props to Court of Yonalawagi for being able to take that back in the end, contest it long enough to then knock the other team off of the tower and finally be like, nope, we still have it. But I can only assume the VCs on both sides were
Very
frenzied.
heated. Yeah, heated. Yeah. I think one of the best examples there, I think one of the biggest lessons you can get from that last push is don't use your specials too early. As we saw, the Ink Strike came out incredibly early into Year Zero's final push, and they did not have it ready for when they needed to dislodge that Hydra. Because the Hydra could just stand there outside of every single one of their weapons ranges and just gun them down on the tower. It was a prime example of that of special management.
Yeah, man, I loved that triple splashdown come out. Like, that thing can be such a menace on tower control when there's a frenzied push into overtime where everybody just wants to be on the tower.
Indeed, I was fully expecting them to go to the right jump and just drop triple splashdown in the middle of plat to cause some problems, but you never know what an Enperi Duelist is gonna do. You never know.
You don't. They're moving on into Mako Mart zones, and I can think of some weapons from some aggressive players who are gonna really like this one. Maybe, you know, a little Carbon Deco could go a little bit nuts here.
Yeah, I do agree. Carbon does have a playground here, given the amount of inkable wall and places to hide. Like, when it comes to Mako Mart, it's a map I like to refer to as, you know, a bit like a fundamentals map. This map has been played so much over the course of both Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 so far, that just about every single competitive player has a baseline knowledge of how to play it. It just comes down to how you play your fundamentals, and that's it. That's literally how the map usually goes.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see from both of these teams their retakes, because I find that's often on any map, but particularly this one as one of the, you know, notable standouts for how do you manage your retake here, especially if you have to retake against a Carbon. What side are you dropping? That Carbon's going to have a playground, especially on the right side when you're trying to do the retake and re-enter. If you haven't cleared space, you don't have a sense of where your opponents are, and you trickle in, that retake is going to fall apart.
Yep. Trickling in is a slow and painful one though, especially when it comes to seeing your push slowly die. It's not fun to be on the receiving end of, at least.
No, it can also be a really quick map mode. Zones in general, zones in Mako, it really lends itself to scrappiness.
Yep. I do agree. It's one of them. Like, zones tend to turn it. You have two kinds of zones matches. Pardon me. You have two kinds of zones matches. You either have the absolute brawls that go through the 5-minute timer, or you have like a 1-minute game. There
We've
is
got a
very little in between.
Tri-Slasher Nouveau coming out from Jolcion now over on Year Zero. So instead of those N parries, I believe it's now swapped over to the Nouveau. So they have a cooler now. They also have a weapon that can play really fun on the stacks. But Sean getting that really, really quick kill. I'm going to say Dapple Dualies also can be super fun on this map. But so is Dread. I think both teams have a lot of fun weapons for this.
Yeah, the flankers getting the first picks, well, getting the first interaction of the match. The Nautilus getting found by the Carbon, looking for a re-entry after getting picked first. They do actually manage to initiate the retake with that pick. However, they do get traded quickly afterwards. And Tri-Strikes come out, so does the cooler, and now things are online for Year Zero. But there's a reslider, but it's not going to get much. Wait, no, a wipe just occurred. Pardon me. However, Court has bought themselves very little breathing room, given that every single player had cooler. Never mind, there goes the Dapples! I keep talking things into existence!
And I saw people trying to get that drop, but the Carbon was right there and said, no, this is my playground. You cannot enter without clearing the space here. But with that rain coming out from Norman's Nautilus, they are starting to go through, but the things are being held on by the Booyah Bomb. Norman trying to get some picks here, at the very least, supply some information. Sean's trying to get a pick, managing to do so, but not able to use a special in time. This is still counting down in Court of Yonalawagi's favor.
Yeah, Year Zero is currently crumbling apart right now. They have one player alive and one player coming back into the fight. They need to try something, but it's going to be very difficult to get things rolling if they don't stay safe. Unfortunately, the Dapples does go down again, and their whale is going to be delayed again. The Tri-Strike comes out trying to clear their own boxes, but it's going to be very difficult. It's not going to get much effect. No picks come out. Trizuka comes out from court, doesn't get any picks either. Dread goes down, and the zone needs to flip now. It does. Luckily, Year Zero saves themselves for another push.
Oh, Sean able to get a pick right there. Right now, holding it down. Another pick on Dabashi. Pick on the Rose Opal is going to make sure that Year Zero can start holding this down. I hope they know that there is a Reef Slider online from that Dread. 3 specials ready from Court of Yonalawagi. They're going to start using them now to facilitate their retake. The Booyah's going to be thrown possibly onto zone, being charged and held right now. Bashi using that crab take, able to get a pick right there. This timer's going down. Year Zero's been holding on to it, and they're still getting picks, still counting it down, but they have to get down really far to get that lead, and by the time they get the lead, they'll probably knock it out if they manage to get that far.
Indeed, indeed. Court has burned a lot of specials trying to get, making one attempt at a retake. They're going to have to get some more here for this last one. It may just be their last chance to retake before the lead gets flipped. However, both teams are actually coming up with specials now. The zone does flip, and they save it with 5 points to spare. Now, both teams with a very long penalty, so we're going to have to see which one manages to count it down first. We have a Tri-Strike on the side of Year Zero, but are they going to live long enough to pop it? The question is up for grabs, and it looks like a yes. The zone will flip again.
Yeah, back into Year Zero's favor. I mean, a wipeout's going to make sure that they get a lot of time here, but they're going to have to be careful on this retake. Like you mentioned, that's a lot of penalty points. They do count down faster than at the rate of 1 per second, but still, they're going to have to hold this for a little under a minute, and that can be quite a while, especially we've got the Booyah coming out right here. That's going to paint the back half of zone. Here comes the Reef Slider helping with the cap. You know, with those 2 specials combined, Court of Yonalawagi, they know if they have those 2, they can easily stall the zone. They've got the lead right now. Even if they don't manage to get through all of their penalty points to count it down farther, they've got a nice advantage.
Yes, indeed they do. But it doesn't look like Year Zero is willing to give it up, give them the win that easily. It's going to be very difficult for them because again they are at a very big range disadvantage here, with the Hydra being able to cover a majority of their approach options. But looking like they are determined, and I do believe this determination may be able to push them through. A whale coming in to finish the try's job, and the whale has just done a fair amount of damage to split up the court, but it's not enough. They do hold strong, and they do manage to keep the zone in their favor. The Nort does trade the Hydra, but it's not enough. Even then, Court still maintains control. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. The slider coming out again. they're still counting down. We have 20 seconds left to go. A triple onto year 0 is going to look very, very good for Court to Gunalawagi. They have to hold this a little bit longer. Norman knows we have to make a play. It's got to go down. I don't know. They might get the knockout. These penalty points are nearly through. They hold this on a little bit longer, but no, it's going back and forth. But down to 0, Court of Gunalawagi able to get the second game of round 1.
Indeed, that is. Well, the set does go in the favor of Court due to the 2-0 score, but I do believe it is play all 3. So, yeah. So year 0 does have some does still have an opportunity to get some points on the board for their first set.
Yeah, and it is important for Swiss for deciding, you know, for tiebreakers going into how are the teams being ranked here, who's going to make it into the top bracket and who's going to be in the bottom bracket.
Indeed, indeed. You want to be in top bracket, but just because you lose a couple games in Swiss doesn't mean you're out. You just need to do your best to, what would it be? Redouble your efforts, I think is the best way to say it. Redouble your efforts, make sure that you're not getting too upset about your shortcomings, and just try and do better next round. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, even if you've lost the set, I'm always telling people, you know, man, not even at like this stuff, even like low ink teams, I have to remind people like, hey, just because we won the set 2-0 does not mean that we like slack off in the third game. We want to win as many games as possible. And even if you've lost the set, sometimes that one game win off of that, you know, you already lost the first 2 games in the set. Sometimes that third game that you end up winning can be enough of a tiebreaker to put you higher up in the standings.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. Also, when it comes to like what we like the matches we see here, like keep in mind to the audience that this is the first tournament these players are having where there's technically actual like things at stake, sort of, quote unquote. Like, of course, this tournament is mainly just more so a celebration of the players' achievements throughout the program. However, well, this is sort of also their first time on a broadcasted stream as well. So the pressure of being live on quote unquote live on stage, and the fact that there's the title and the and the Sendu badge is also up for grabs. So it's a little bit of pressure on them. So they're not exactly used to the environment. So it can cause a couple slip-ups in terms of nerves. So, you know, we've all been there though. As competitive players, we've all been there.
Oh my gosh, I got
first 20 Jetsons
streamed, I think 3 times in a row at a LAN, at a Big Dapple, and my nerve by the end of that third set, my nerves were shot. I was like, I'm so tired from being on stream 3 games in a row. So I really like that the SBA also, in addition to providing a tournament for these newer players to competitive to get comfortable with, getting comfortable with getting used to playing in a tournament. Also, more comfortable, more experience with playing for a live audience.
I do concur, yeah. Because like it is like playing on your own is already daunting. Like sometimes very like demanding in terms of focus, but like it's always a bit distracting, or at least a little. What would it be? Like the idea that somebody's actively watching you play can definitely like change your perception of things, and definitely mess with your head if you're not ready, if you're not used to it.
Yeah, moving on to the last game of this set is going to be on Clam's Museum.
Yeah, this one's a doozy. It's always a doozy when it comes to Clams anyway, especially with players who are, new to competitive. Clams is one of the biggest hurdles for when they're starting out, because attempting to coordinate pushes and also managing Clam economy mid neutral fight is always a challenge. It's not something you that's what would be the word? Intuitive? Yeah. Alright, so both teams immediately moving into mid, and the Tentabrella coming out from court actually is an interesting choice, but not a bad one for the map mode. However, it is going to be
the Tentabrella with Inkvac.
Yeah. Good spot actually. I assumed it would be the one with Zuka. A pick going down on for either side here in this initial engagement. No, never mind. Court is going to lose their carbon as well, but the Hydra is going to reply with a strong torrent of bullets straight to mid. Again, this Hydra can afford to stay back on their own plat and dominate the mid if they so choose. Booyah Bomb comes out, but they're getting focused by the whale. That could cause some problems. Never mind. Good use of it. And Vac comes out to absolutely kneecap the ball carrier. Oh my goodness, 2 ball carriers down. What a shot.
Yeah, you see, like, the 10-spin sending that shield forward, the umbrella canopy, lurking within it, and then jumping out to safety, doing a great job of drawing attention and trying to stay alive. So good at just stalling and pulling opponents into a particular area, and then getting out of dodge before things get too nuts. At this point, you're looking at the comps for Court of Yonalawagi with that stalling power from the tent. You've got the Hydra, who has the most range of this entire lobby. A Crab, which can also attack from far away. They've got so many great spacing opportunities here to then open up for the Carbon and the Dualies to go nuts. But right now, going 2 down, they score 1 power claim. I don't know that they're going to be able to get in more. Rose Opal looks like they were going to try to get in for a moment, going to back up there. They're going to leave it at that. I think is a wise decision. You know what? Even though you want to score more than just that power clam, better to at least keep numbers up and presence in mid as opposed to sacrificing yourselves to a push that's going to go nowhere.
I think the biggest challenge Year Zero is going to face this match is the fact that they have no immediate threat specials. Like, they have Whale and they have Range, stuff that allows them to push in slowly, but the thing is, Court is just able to stand their ground with theirs, and they have immediate effect specials, where Zuka, Booyah Bomb, Tank, stuff that immediately pops and is able to cause a problem. But one of the things that Year Zero definitely has over Court is their speed. The pushing speed for Court is going to be very difficult, and they have 2 heavyweight weapons on their team. So there's definitely advantages both teams can levy. Let's just see how they try and do so.
Yeah, Louder is playing at the speed that is going to work best for your comp and your teammates here. That's why things are going a bit slow and steady for Court of Yonalawagi. I'm going to be excited if we can see Year Zero really set up a strong push, because I think that will be like a lightning change in pace for them once they can set it up. Looks like we could see something here. They're starting to move into mid right now. It really is going to be, how do we displace that Hydra who can set up from relative safety? We don't have a whole lot that we can do to dislodge them from that position besides our own bodies.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, my goodness. 3-on-1. The tent just doesn't die. Like, my goodness. Never mind. I spoke it into existence.
Call out a commentator curse.
Indeed, it keeps happening. The curse of prophecy. They never listen, but it always happens. Either way, Weapon comes out, and there is also a splashdown on deck for Year Zero. This might be their opportunity to score. They need to be careful, though. No, the throw comes short. Zuka comes out, along with Vac, to prevent any push. That's just going to get sucked up, and a perfect Vac to cancel out the push entirely. Well played from Court to stop them in their tracks. Year Zero is sent back to the drawing board with a minute left on the clock.
Strong defense there. You could tell Year Zero knew, like, this is when we can score, but unfortunately just through that power clam, not close enough to the basket. But the best way to kill a tent.
Indeed.
So
Perfect patience,
fun.
and it looks like the No, you know what? I don't even need to finish the sentence. The curse kicks in. I was gonna say, Drapple's gonna get a triple here. No, Carbon to the Carbon upside the head, because it's funny.
Classic Carbon, and look, now they're pushing through this choke point with that tent canopy shield. They've got 2 power claims. People are going to the net to wipe out onto Court of Yonalawagi. Year Zero needs to run forward right now and set
They
up.
need a power climb. They do have a pity climb, but they've completely forgotten they exist. They do get the
They
climb.
need one more.
They need one more. They need one more climb. Triple splashdown comes out. Gives them an opening. They get it. It's over. Wait, no, overtime is still active.
There is
They need
overtime.
a climb. They need a ball. Court need a ball right now if they want to keep overtime active. Okay, they have overtime, but they have 20 seconds.
Yeah, they get their pity, but because that overtime started before the basket closed, they have so little time. They have to get in right now. There's not enough time. They're going to jump. They need to throw it back.
No!
Slowed down by the vacuum.
No, not even that. It's the fact that their weapons are just so slow. That ball carrier was just the Hydra, so they're there. So they are lugging their weapons while swimming, and that unfortunately comes to bite them in the back.
Like wearing an extra 20-pound weights strapped to your chest.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is also a fire hydrant. Those things are heavy.
So it does mean that Year Zero did get their win here. They did manage to take the game.
Yes, they did, and that was a phenomenal push and great. Again, both of these teams were very determined for that entire match. It's so fun. They did not give up. And again, the Curse of Prophecy. The Curse of Prophecy. I mentioned the speed differential and the difficulty that Court was going to have pushing up on this map, and Commentator's Curse. It happened. It happened.
It did. Yeah, you know, a lot of times it's okay. You see how one team wants to play, and then the other team wants to play a completely different style. A lot of it is how can you on your team shift the balance, the tempo of the game to be in your team's favor, as opposed to playing at the pace that the other team wants to play.
Indeed. But again, at the end of the set, Court does come out on top with a 2-1. But it is not over yet. It is not single elimination. It is Swiss. So there are going to be plenty of opportunities for Year Zero to score some points and end up rematching Court in the next in either top cut or low cut. I'm not sure which will be where, but we'll see.
Yeah, there are 4 rounds of Swiss, play all 3, so plenty of chances to get some points, get some scores trending higher. As for the other teams here, 6 Nya'ain, Dine and Dash, and Inkaboo all managed to finish their sets 3-0. So they're all sitting pretty good right now headed into round 2.
Yeah.
We'll have to get our next round set up in a moment here. Man, in that last set, did you have any specific takeaways looking at how either team played here? Maybe perhaps certain maps you think they're gonna be playing really, really well on, should those happen to come up in the tournament for them?
Well, I think it's more so I think it's how do I put this? It mainly came down to the team struggling with the team's preferred comp struggling with the maps they were given. As we saw, the main idea for Year Zero's comp was to be a very rushdown heavy comp, relying mainly on speed and frontline power to potentially overwhelm their opponents in a brawl. However, that didn't really work out for them, as Court had a comp that was able to play relatively split up while also being able to help each other within their weapon ranges. We saw that the Hydra was often positioned in a way that allowed them to just cover the tent. I think best example was on Museum, where the Hydra often was overlooking the tent. If the second you attempted to spin around that shield, you got shredded. So yeah, it came down to mainly just how they approached the match. They definitely were able, Year Zero was definitely able to break through the defense and maybe brute force their way through. Unfortunately, that wasn't the most consistent source of success for them. Yeah. So yeah,
I would agree there. But I will say, in my experience, Museum has frequently gone more towards the team that is able to play more of the spacing, more long range. You set up a Hydra or a Charger on Museum, and it can stay back pretty safe. And so long as you have your front or mid liners being able to cover you and make sure that nobody can come flank you, you can sit pretty nicely and pretty securely. So that Year Zero was, in the end, able to disrupt that, I think is really cool to see. Because that Hydra was just chilling on their plat for quite a while, and sometimes being able to even hang out on that middle spinner and attack from farther behind and say, I'm okay here. Go my teammates, go my Scarab, go eliminate them, and I will stay back here and you can come back to me if you need to. And then when Year Zero saw that opportunity, they could just go, zoom, we're flying forward.
Yeah, it's the methodical approach versus the pedal to the metal approach. But yeah, we do have the next set lined up for you. We have Archipelago against Inkabu in this next playoff 3. So let's see. Hold on. Inkabu.
I'm gonna say Inkaboo is definitely one of the strong teams coming into this Academy Showcase. They finished second in the mid-season tourney. They only lost to 6-9. And Archipelago finished 8th in the mid-season tourney. They did manage to beat Court of Yonalawagi, who we just got to watch. And that a lot of the players hang out and play Archipelago a lot. I also want to shout out their coach being Echo. And Echo does a lot of coaching for Splatoon players at various levels, and also runs a Discord server for people to get more experience getting VOD reviewed and giving VOD reviews, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's always cool to have like people that places to go for that kind of thing, because it can be difficult to find. Like, not everybody can afford coaching or can find coaching. Unfortunately, it does happen. So having a place where you can get VOD reviewed by peers of either like higher skill level or or high skill level that use your weapons is definitely an invaluable resource. And to those people who set those up, like, you're doing a lot of work, and we appreciate you all for that.
Yes. Oh
So
man,
look
and
at the comps.
yeah, any weapons standing out to you on either team? Nah, not all the players have things selected,
I
but
mean,
I
I'm
do see
looking
that
at the mini.
dread. I see the dread on Archipelago.
Yeah, the dread on Archipelago, but I'm raising my eyebrow at the mini. There's a mini player on Inkaboo, Brooklyn, I do believe.
Yeah.
That's we always love to see mini. Mini is always one you like to see. Like funny small Gatling that goes burr. We do have a Lita player.
Yeah, that's Splash Panda.
Splash Panda, not something like Lita is one of the backlines you don't see very often in lower level. Most people take something a little safer, but it's always nice to see the weapons of like the I like to call them weapons of extremes, like where they spec hard into range and be like a slow, but like again they look at you, you die kind of thing. It's always interesting to see, like, especially like newer players especially in comp, picking these weapons, fully knowing that that is a weapon that you are leaning heavily into one specific thing and committing to it and willing to tough it out instead of learning like a more generalized version of that weapon.
Yeah, because leader's one of those weapons where a good leader will affect the pace of the match so much and deny space just by being able to shine a laser in an area or punish you for peeking and all of a sudden get a really quick splat on you for playing too risky. But if they're not able to affect things very much, then it can be like forcing your team to play a 3v4. So a presence of a leader changes the pace of the match so much. I'm going to be interested to see how the leader does on our first game, because that's going to be on Humpback Rainmaker, and that's not a map that I tend to see people play chargers on. So if this is somebody, if Splash Panda does exclusively play chargers, I'm gonna be excited to see where they're setting up and how they're controlling the pace of the game.
Indeed. When it comes to Lita, something like, as a brush player, I get it, brush player, like, ew, cringe kind of thing, but, like, something I've learned is, like, despite the fact that you can afford to just run through the Lita sightline and there's a fair chance they miss, like, something I've learned is that regardless of your team's, like, of your team comp's speed, Lita forces you to slow down at least a little bit, because if you don't, you're highly likely to just get crossfired and collateral the second you try and stack up to push. It's very Yeah, like the absolute space Alita on its own can occupy is a major factor in those matches, and especially on Humpback. Oh my goodness, Humpback, because the leader can afford to just stay on mid and still affect your plat. If you're trying to get the Rainmaker out of there and the laser isn't there, you're about to get jump scared. I think the best way to say it, you're about to get jump scared.
I've been jump scared by many a leader shot onto me.
Yep. Okay. Either way, next game, next set, Humpback on Rainmaker. Oh boy, another classic for us veterans.
Yeah, let's see. We've got a really short-range, aggressive comp coming out. No leader coming out this time. I'm not too surprised that we've got the bow. That's the Tri-Stringer with Inkjet. It's going to be really fun to watch. But of course, we still got some AoE in that Dreadringer's hands. There's a lot of fun spots on this map to pop some reef sliders, so long as you're aware. But oh my gosh, the first pick going down onto Archipelago. Ivory is so close to getting splatted here, managing to stay alive, but no, going down. Now she is holding this mini splatling. Here comes the hammer, gonna start chasing people away, trying to clear that checkpoint, able to get the pick there. Has this covered, throws it, not able to. Oh, never mind. Here we go. Hammer. This is a run.
Oh no, you don't. Oh my goodness, that was just typical of you rushed when DKRS was alive, you get doubled. That is literally how things go. Unfortunately, it's not going to be. Wait, never mind. No, both teams are actually starting to hold their ground after the check break. It's a brawl, and that's always something I love to see. This choke is notorious for being hard to break through. And it looks like both teams are looking to either hold or break through it with a bit of determination. But Archipelago will hold strong, and they actually managed to reset the Rainmaker. That's a really strong play.
Yeah, making sure that that's not going to get past the checkpoint is going to be good for them. All players still up right now. The Zuka's going to come out, not able to get any picks. There are a lot of specials online. We're likely going to see a Reef Slider soon. We've got the Inkjet ready to go. Those two players are the only ones alive on Archipelago. Starlink holding down, doing the slide, not able to get a pick, is alone here, trying to stay alive, trying to run away, gets picked off. Not going to be able to push the Rainmaker forward just yet.
Indeed. Inkaboo definitely has a more volatile comp than Archipelago, especially with
the run-in!
Yep, the Dynamo is runs it to 2. That is not good for Archipelago at this point. They are now forced to get it to 1 or win. That is their only options for victory at this point. Now, Archipelago does have a couple of advantages over Inkaboo, mainly being shield damage. Like, they have 2 weapons on their comp that do an extortionate amount of damage to the Rainmaker shield. So they're able to leverage that if they get the Rainmaker in the right place before popping. That can definitely work in their favor. However, the Dread gets bullied by the hammer, unfortunately. Literally gets put in a corner and smashed. But luckily for Inkaboo, their team manages to pick up the other fights that they were taking part of. And now, we are in a situation where Inkaboo can kind of just push in again. They have specials up, they have a hammer, and they have a Zuka to initiate. And Cooler just came online as well. That is going to be the go signal for this team, likely. Indeed, it is.
It is. Now they've got the drinks ready. They're gonna start charging in right now. They're gonna respawn immediately if they die. That Reef Slider will get a pick. They're not able to secure any more than that, which is rough for Archipelago because they really do need this numbers advantage to. The very first thing to do is going to be we have to make sure that we clear a checkpoint, but they are going down. That hammer's going to find the bow, take them out, and yet again, Inkaboo grabbing that Rainmaker, able to push it forward. There's not a lot of contesting happening. They don't have to even get the knockout here, but if they just keep controlling it and keep threatening the knockout, Archipelago's going to be freaking out at this point.
Oh my goodness. The decav attempting to make a stand with a bubbler. Unfortunately, they are at a. Oh my! You know what? Oh my goodness! I was expecting a big bomb there, but it's unfortunately over. I saw the bomb roll up next to the Rainmaker carrot. I was like, wait a second, something could happen here, but it didn't. Unfortunately, that is just. I think that's the case of like, just unfortunately, one team was like aggressive and winning fights a bit more than the other team. Like, it's it was very difficult because they had a lot of weapons that could just kind of zone out Archipelago in that situation. The Dino getting under your ledge is just a nightmare situation because you're taking a load of chip. You're taking a load of very difficult to hard to avoid chip, along with the fact that you have the threat of two Ultra Stamps could fly at you and just delete you the rest of your health. Because the 60 damage hitbox is, you know,
it's massive.
In this hitbox is abnormally large. Yeet. But yeah, that was just really like Inkaboo just had the comp they needed to kind of just brute force their way through Archipelago's defenses. Again, it's a bit of an opposite of the team comp interaction we saw from the last set actually, whereas a similar strategy attempted to be employed by Year Zero didn't mesh well when going up against the court's extremely like solid defensive formations. But here, Inkaboo was able to just like with the amount of AOE damage they were throwing out, along with their sheer unbridled aggression at times, was able to just kind of just battering ram Archipelago's door until it came down, and Archipelago didn't exactly have an answer for it. However, we are going to tower ship shape here. This could change things.
It could. I think Archipelago's going to have to be careful because the pace of this tower control stage, which as a mode trends much slower than Rainmaker because it's on, there's a set speed that it's going to go, there's a set path that it has to take. But this particular stage can be so snowbally, so I think they're gonna have to be very careful to make sure they're working together, checking a lot of the angles. I'm gonna be interested to see if we get the leader coming out this time around from Inkaboo.
Indeed. Honestly, Shipshape is one of those maps that you're just like, it's Shipshape Tower at least. It's one of those very snowballing maps because if somebody manages to get the tower up to your ledge and then jump up onto your side, that's the worst case scenario because it's very difficult to get back up there at that point. Recovering the tower from that point of the map is, it's painful. I think it's painful. It's painful.
There's the leader.
Oh boy, wait, Lita might actually work out in their favor here, but oh my goodness, both teams employing a Wavebreaker here. This is actually one of, in my opinion, one of Wavebreaker's stronger maps. Call me crazy, honestly. Yeah, call me crazy, honestly. The ability to affect a large area with a well-placed Wavebreaker is just, like, extremely strong.
Yeah, Starlink's opening move on this Dread was to camp that ledge there on the wing, making sure that Panda couldn't get in, but now Panda can start setting up here. Is going to get forced to back away because of that blaster. But here comes she. Riding this tower, can go so fast on a mini, can absolutely run down a heavy Splatling with the help of a teammate. And here comes the hammer, but Ivory on this decap's been going pretty well, but no, gotta get taken out. This is points on the board for Inkaboo. Looks like they're gonna clear this first tower checkpoint.
Yes, indeed. Inkaboo with a very, stop and go, pedal to the metal approach here again. Just like last game. A strong initial pick at the first engagement definitely gave them the door, it kicked the proverbial door wide open for a big point lead. And now Inkaboo does have to back up, though, because they have lost control with losing their players. But it looks like the other two players still alive are looking to keep it going. The Lita does jump out, and the shot just backs up, which is a good move, honestly. Keeping one player here, never mind. You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to finish that.
If you have to pick between the two weapons, who's going to jump out? You want that leader to get out.
I completely concur. Now the game looks like it's going to return to a neutral state. A bubbler here attempting to at least give their team some breathing room. It's absolutely going to work in their favor, though, because, well, Inkaboo does lose their mini. They've lost two. A stray auto bomb catches someone in the back. And it looks like the blast is going to chase the Lita, but no, that's a big no-no. You don't do that. You don't chase a Lita over open ground, and looks like your entire team is going to be punished for it. They've lost their front line, and now they're on their back foot again.
Yeah, Ruby's here trying to use this Zuko. Wasn't able to get a lot out of it, but does still take out that heavy Splatling.
Ugh.
Moving on in here. Inkaboo sitting really, really pretty with a massive lead, but it's going to be the massive hitbox of this blaster being able to force away some players. But yeah, I think they're going to have to be very careful. Very careful of the specials.
Wait,
plus
great
the
play.
leader.
Great play to avoid the hammer, but unfortunately they are now in a very bad position to attempt to affect the tower. They do get the shots off, they do clear it, but somebody is there to cover where the Leto goes down, and it's going to be over. Oh my goodness. That is just a very dominant game.
That's a tower ship shape moment.
Yeah, I do in fact certify that as a tower ship moment. That might have been a 100-0. I'm not sure.
That
might have been a 100-0.
That was fast. I think they had only a brief break between pushes.
I mean, like, Archipelago definitely put up a fight. You can't say that they didn't. Wait, was that? Wait, yeah, no.
Yeah, they did put up a fight. Like, I saw especially the blaster poking around some ledges, able to do a lot of area control. Fantastic thing you can do on that particular, on the standard blasters, get so much AoE. But yeah, that leader, Splash Panda, definitely getting some really notable snipes in, being able to slow things down so dramatically for Archipelago that they could not get in. And I think, unfortunately for Archipelago, their third game is going to be on Hagglefish, and this sure is a map with open sightlines for a leader to play with.
Oh boy, this is probably the best map to pick a leader on, especially when it comes to preventing pushes. Like, it's the situation of the Tower of Sauron. It's just like you even peek your head for a second. It's just like you. It's literally just like you have an eye looking at you at all times from that tent, dude.
Yeah, so I wonder if Archipelago is going to run the same things that they've been running with, if they're going to try to change up some things, specifically with the goal of dislodging that leader. I know one thing that my coach had to really drill into me was that while I needed to be aware of where the leader was going to be paying attention and what their range and sightlines were, that simply running them down while their teammates are alive and looking at them is just going to spell my downfall.
Yep. Like, I understand, you have the opportunity for a flank, you see nobody's there, but the thing is, nobody ever takes into account that the backline is actually competent in close range and kills you anyway. Now, unfortunately, that's just a, it's, you want to go in, like, you have to resist the urge to do so. Your brain says go, 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 but you have to go, no, stop, don't do it.
Is this the time for it? No, we're not there yet.
Now can I kill? No. How about now? No. How about now? No!
And when you're a front laner, you're like, I'm rabid, I need it, I need the kill, I need it.
Indeed. Must hold forward.
Heading into last game of round 2 between these two teams. Archipelago wants this win to get some kind of points on the board for themselves. Inkaboo's been holding strong on this leader.
Ooh, okay. This is gonna be interesting. So this is definitely, like, Archipelago has definitely going to make this a little difficult on themselves, because they don't exactly have specials that they can use from a safe distance to try and pressure the Elita. They do have 2 bubblers, meaning that they can create safe spaces in the latest sightline, but depending on who's alive at that point, it may become a little difficult for them. They do have 2 hammers against them, so that those bubbles aren't going to last long depending on who's alive.
Yeah, going, the double bubble into a double hammer can be awfully scary, because that hammer can just charge straight through. But, 2 players down on Archipelago, but Archipelago is forcing that leader away, but will be punished for it. I would do the same thing and then go, oops, they had their friends still alive. I got punished for it.
Although they are making a decent hold, and they're giving themselves some breathing room with the initial take, and they are being able to just scrap their way through this fight, but unfortunately, Inkaboo is looking to take the advantage here and hold mid. Bubble up to try and create some space. No, gets caught out immediately. But they do respond. Archipelago is trying to get their way in. The Wavebreaker is in mid, but it has no effect on a reslider. A breakaway reslider does get them back in.
That was a good placement of that slider, sliding not onto the zone, but just behind it to go pursue some of those players on Inkaboo who had started backing up to get away from it and was able to get one off of that. It's still, scores are neck and neck, 59-60. Gone Fishing able to get a kill off of that, did indeed go fishing right there. Not able to get in too far just yet, but I think Inkaboo can set up and move forward. They're already, holding some really, really strong spaces that they can. With knowing that Panda's behind them on the leader can be a safe jump to go back to and jump back in on is going to be really nice for them. And now with the penalty points gone through, they're getting points on the board.
Oh, yeah, both wave breakers come out, creating a no man's land of sorts. It's on the side of Archipelago, but the interaction really amounts to nothing for Archipelago's favor in the moment. A Zuga comes out, does take out the Splatling. And now, Archipelago on the back foot, and they have almost no time left. One bubbler comes out to create some breathing room. The other one needs to chain really quickly if they want to create get anything done. Reach-Slider comes out, attempting to take zone. Bubbler follows it, but that's not a good situation. Hammer also comes out. No! There was the potential for a play there to hopefully do something, but no. Inkaboo will close this out 3-0.
Okay, I saw what they wanted to do with that slide onto the zone, followed by the bubble, but there was just a little bit too much time between them. So the ink put onto zone was just not enough at the same time to be able to cap it. And that hammer! You pull out that hammer and you see the bubble, and you're like, oh, that looks delicious. I would like to go right into that bubble.
I have a hammer and everything is a nail. You bonk.
This bubble is suspiciously nail-shaped.
Yeah, unfortunately, also the thing is, that was probably both of these bubble weapons are definitely going to struggle, both of those bubble weapons would have struggled with a hammer anyway, because Blaster and Splatoon are some of the weapons that have some of the most difficulty dealing head-on with hammer. So, you die. Unfortunately, unless the charge slash. Yeah, except for the decaf charge slash hitbox, let's not talk about that.
It's nasty.
The amount of times I've died in Hammer as on English Novo.
You're just like,
you could probably
what?
make a montage of it.
How?
Yeah, so you literally just, it's literally just, shaking the fist, man shakes fist at sky kind of thing, just like, You have to accept it, unfortunately. It's the futility that you have to accept the fact that you are going to die at that point, at some point.
Yeah, right. Against the decaf, you just have to know that, there are going to be some splats onto me where in the moment I'm going to be like, this feels very unfair, but you just have to accept it.
Indeed. Hee-ho, hee-ho. Right, looking up next for our next match, we will be having the teams of, I do believe it is Squiff versus... Hold on, let's see. Other name escapes for a second.
Chief Executives.
Yeah, Chief Executives, yeah. Indeed. So let's have a look at this. So, okay. Looking at the weapons, 96, hello. 96 and Gold Dynamo player, that's definitely interesting. A bit of a mixed bag on one of their players. Starstorm having very aggressive, again, mixed bag, and an aggro player.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see that because, I can see I see Squiff pulling out some very interesting combos in terms of weapon comps. For Chief Executives, shooter, standard shooter player, dualies, support player, another relative support player along with a blaster in their pocket, and a dedicated support player. So. I think it's. I'm not expecting anything out in terms of standard weaponry. I'm definitely interested to see how the 96 plays into this, but yeah, I think I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna set any expectations. I'm definitely interested to see which comps we might see for this, but I'm not gonna set my expectations too high in terms of wildcards.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Squiff, aka Super Queer and Stable Idiots Forever, feeding OBS wanted to cut that off. OBS says we hate Hyperdive. We might see some kind of rushdown comp from Squiff. We might. It will be interesting. their name's a long running joke of teams of the team manager, that being Venus, always being named after some kind of weapon, as like an acronym such as like NAUT as in not. And they, you know what? I think they saw, okay, Squiff, super queer unstable idiots forever feeding. Let's go Pride Month. Woo!
Indeed. Unfortunately, it is almost over, but, it'll come back. Always does.
Every month can be Pride Month if you believe hard enough.
True.
I also love, and we're going to see this shortly, that the chief executives, not splash tags, but like their team tags that they do for their IGNs is CEO $. I really enjoy that.
You gotta get that money.
Big money.
Dosh. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Cloud's Umami for the first one. I think Clouds is one of the, at least Umami. Umami is one of the better Clouds maps. Sure, it does have a choke when it comes to getting up to the basket, but it feels like one of the more, what it would be? I think the best way to just do it, I just think it's one of the better Clouds maps we have available to us at the moment.
Aggressive one for sure.
Oh well, yeah, absolutely. So, taking mid is taking the mid raise section is definitely the strongest option you can do for the start. But it's fun to see. It's fun to see brawls unfold in the mid section anyway. It always is.
Yeah, and looking at what both teams are playing, I think we will see a fair amount of brawls happening in mid, which I think works great for this particular stage. And I think is going to be a very, very enjoyable Clams match to witness here.
Yeah, I do concur. Yeah, it's like I said, Clams isn't easy, but it's always interesting to see how new players, approach the mode compared to these standard strategies that just about every competitive player above entry level has ingrained in their heads at this point.
Okay, about to start shortly here. We'll get to see the first peaks of team comps that we'll see from both these teams for the beginning of round 3.
Indeed. Round 3. Game on! Oh, I see what they're doing with the banners. Unfortunately, a couple of the players do not have a golden banner, so they can't commit to that bit. Okay. Relatively standard, except, standout is the splatter scope and the E-liter here. This isn't exactly a charger map, so say, but, they can definitely occupy space if they get in the right spots.
Yeah, and definitely important to note that that leader over on Squiff is going to have the most range here, can outrange the backline of chief executives, but that, I don't know, the splatter scope can be pretty aggressive and has that bag for being able to push forward. I think is generally considered a more mobile charger compared to a leader. Is gonna have to be careful of those sightlines though.
Indeed, yep. Somebody almost paid the price for not doing that, and somebody just did. Yeah, you saw the laser, you stood on the platform, you died. Control, Alt, Delete. But one of the most interesting things I'd like to point out is that both teams currently have a vacuum on their comp, which is definitely not the special you see in Clams most of the time for starting pushes. But if I recall correctly, it has been seeing a bit of a rise in popularity. The vac does come out early for Chief Executive, but a wave breaker that you can't block is going to come in and just deny it. And, yeah, well, you know what? Fair enough. Cornered, and you don't have enough time to jump out. Might as well booyah, I guess, for the funny. Either that or it was a bit of a misinput.
Dripping down.
Oh wait, I think they were misinput. I think they misinputted. I think they missed their up XA.
Yeah, likely. They do. They have this choke point that they have to get through. That is just going to be the staple of Clams Umami is how do we get through this checkpoint? I think that is good for that. That's why they haven't been able to push forward too much right now.
The crab comes
they
out.
don't have that bag.
Yeah, indeed, they do in fact have the bag. The crab has created a lot of space for them to push forward, along with the charger landing some nasty shots. Yet another one coming out. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if that was the charger there who picked behind the man, or was it whether it was a good slosh. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell at times. But
yeah, this is moving fast.
Yeah, Oh no, the Vac there, and unfortunately
Oh!
the 52 is going to get caught out, unable to defend themselves. The Vac get counter-vacked, and the suction is now on the side of Chief Executives, pressuring two of their players on Squiff to get pushed back into the corner. But the that was the Octo shot pushes up to mid to reply with that pressure. And now again, both teams relatively set back to neutral. So Chief Executive is getting pushed back into their side of the map, but again, being ready to contest almost immediately again. The 52 gets sent back to the respawn screen again, and so does their dualies. Again, this is just a brawl. This is one of the... I think that we're in for a long 5-minute match here, everybody, so get some popcorn.
They've got fresh legs. They want to be running in right now. And look, Squiff has so many clams. They are
the
really,
clam economy with a Vac to keep it going.
They are winning the economy war right now, especially with a double, practically a wipe onto the Chief Executives. Their economy's in shambles.
Yeah, it is like the literal stonks meme for Squiff right now, and Chief Executive is currently suffering a market crash. The push is still going, the basket is still open, and more clams are on the way. They're not being stopped. Nobody can. Crab finally comes out to see if they can put a stop to it. They get one. The Vac immediately comes out to cancel it, and more clams once again on their way. Are they going to make it there in time? They do. They need one more to finish it out. Will it be 100-0? It might not be. This might be the end of the push. It is.
No clams in hand and absolute camped on that jump. That is going to stop at 2. But a huge push from 100 to 2 for Squiff. They, as long as they hold strong, this is going to be tough for Chief Executives to overturn. They have to basically get a knockout, depending on how the math works out.
That is the definite, especially with the amount of time they have left. Setting up for a push like this is going to take time, and that is not something that the Chief Executives have much of. Unfortunately, they do lose. Wait, no, actually, never mind. I'm misreading it. Squiff has just lost 3 players, and this might give Chief Executives the in they need to up their stocks and then get some investment going back in. The double does come out, but do they have the clams? They need to manage their clams very carefully here in order to keep the push going. The crab is far back, not much space created, and the counter is at 51 for Chief Executives, but the slosher is there. They do get one pick, they get traded out though. Another pick comes out, they are bleeding players. This isn't good for them. Chief Executives does in fact have a numbers advantage. They can keep the push alive, but they're dumping their clams.
They need more clams though. We're gonna go into overtime.
They do have teammates to keep the space, but no. Wait, the clams are still coming in.
Oh, they're at 9! It's just the 52! They're trying to get in! They need to grab clams, they need to throw the they need 3 clams! 3 clams! But that basket is closed. The stock market is closed for the day. Chief Executives not able to get the lead there. Squiff taking game 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chief Executives at a net loss for today on the charts. But they do have a couple more opportunities to get something on their board and actually... Okay, I'm running out of puns. I'm running out of jokes.
You all in game 1.
Well, we have run out of the funny. But yeah, they definitely, Chief Executives got put in a rough spot at the end of the timer, unfortunately.
Man, that was a close one. And if the next one is just as close on Rainmaker Undertow, which I feel like is also a map that can lend itself to a lot of skirmishing and fighting, especially for, Rainmaker. Everybody's going to be scrambling and fighting. Like Umami, there are choke points that you absolutely have to clear. Do you think we're going to see both vacuums come out, especially for Rainmaker?
I mean, it is Rainmaker. And Vac is pretty decent on Rainmaker despite its, glaring weaknesses. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Both teams have committed to the Vac in Clan Blitz, and we've seen both teams be quite proficient with it. So I'm definitely interested to see if they bring it to Rainmaker. I'd like to though, because it's always awesome to see a Vac Rainmaker play.
Yeah, I think it'll work out well. You definitely, when you are the back, especially if you're a backline with the back, so for the splatter scope player, you do have to make sure you're communicating to your teammates. I have Vac, I'm not picking up the Rainmaker. One of you has to pick it up.
Yeah, ideally when it comes to Rainmaker, you want your character, your carrier to be someone who can just plop down their special, then carry the Rainmaker kind of thing, and not have to have a, what would it be, a special that needs a specific moment or a specific use case in the match to be carrying it. Because what happens if that use case arises when you're carrying the Rainmaker? It's kind of an awkward moment where I have the solution to the problem, however, I have this giant golden, bazooka glued to my hands.
My hands are occupied, and I cannot use my special.
Special stuck! Special stuck, please! I beg you!
There's no dual wielding of the ink vac and the Rainmaker in this game.
I don't want to imagine the idea of dual wielding an Izuka and a Rainmaker.
So
no,
broken.
I mean, to be fair, I think the Izuka players in the audience would love that. Not as if that special has already had its time to shine.
Yeah, you all had your time.
Yeah, whatever, buff hammer. I'm not biased at all.
I mean, I feel like hammer can work super well in Rainmaker.
Oh, absolutely. One of the most clutch things I have ever seen, this is a personal story, one of the most clutch things I've ever seen in a Rainmaker match happened with a hammer, where they somehow managed to consistently time their rush to when the Rainmaker was firing, caused it to land on the rush hitbox, causing it to detonate midair, and then immediately start swimming again. So it would just detonate midair and they'd start dodging. They were doing that. It was insane. I had no words. I wish I was the one doing that because it was absolutely awesome. I just had to sit there watching my teammate just bully the Rainmaker into a corner. Like literally, nobody would believe me, and I don't expect the audience to believe me, but it happened.
I like running directly behind my player, my teammate currently using a hammer. I'm just like, oh yay, big brother's escorting me to the goal. I'm just going to swim right on them.
It's all fun and games for the hammer until you get turned into a Swiss cheese from the front. Still not happy with that, Nogami.
Yeah. The shooters do get to make some Swiss cheese out of ya.
No. It's just that the angry cat gif of
No talk, me angry.
No talk, my special bad. You okay, shooter?
Shooter.
Teammate, what happened to your hammer, shooter player?
I will say, now that I've been playing much more Dread over the last year and a half, I started being like, oh, I was used to being a shooter and a duelie and being like, hammers don't scare me, and now I'm like, oh no.
You hear the sound, yeah, you hear the sound. It's just like you hear the sound. You have a fight or flight response because you know it's either directed at you or it's getting thrown at someone.
I'm like, this hammer will block my entire shot. I have somewhere to be. Goodbye.
Hammer players, like Ultra Stat users salivate when they see a blast when they see a like an AOE weapon alone.
Yeah.
They're just like, "Ooh, you're unattended. I'm just gonna, choo choo." But yeah, so Rainmaker on the toe is once again one of the classics of Splatoon 3 at this point, and it's definitely an interesting one. I think it's definitely like I do love this map. Like you could always go for the breakaway on the right, but left will always be the more consistent option for most teams. I'm interested to see, do we keep Vac? We do keep Vac on one or for Squiff. Do we keep Vac for the other team? For chief executives, we do. Okay. I want to see them attempt glass. I want to see them attempt to run it up glass with Vac. I want to see it.
Oh my gosh, that would be really, really fun. Both teams also opting for a Tri-Slosher Nouveau for the cooler. Tri also eating pretty good on Undertow, but that is going to be an early pick onto the shot player for Squiff right now. Number advantage over for well. Never mind, we've got the vacs coming out. That is
nice vacuum, nice booyah bomb. Mine now. Literal like heavy eat sandwich meme. No. And with that, I'm gonna say it. With that daylight robbery in effect, that is a strong, convincing first push for Squiff. Excellent vac timing.
Moving on in, they are gonna likely grab this in a moment here. Luna on the leader, looking, staring at them. We've got strikes ready, but I don't know that they're gonna be thrown out just yet. They might opt just to leave this to reset. Strikes will start coming out, but that vacuum from Chief Executive is gonna ensure that this doesn't go further, but that's
Yep. Yeah, these snipe and pick are going to put the game state on the back foot for Chief Executives. However, they do get a pick of their own to equalize the numbers. But again, Super Squiff does in fact have an advanced position here. The E-leader is going to move back, having deployed their wave breaker. It is the prime time for them to pick it up and maybe make a play. But the entire team also backs up with them to make sure that things don't get too split. The shooter goes down on both teams here, and the 96 doesn't pops back to maybe get the Rainmaker moving again, but it's hard to tell. Uh-oh.
Do they know? Do they know?
I don't know. They don't know, and they lose 2 players for it. You didn't check the corner.
Oh, classic Tri-Slasher move, just lurking in that ink, doing a little shark. They are cooler. They're going to be the one to
Wait a second.
grab that
Rainmaker. Vac comes up too. This might be a good opportunity to actually move it up. But again, like Vac from mid, there's not much duration, so you have to do something with it.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that's
that was
not
a cheeky line.
That's not the choke point. Yeah, and that is going to be a wipeout onto Chief Executives. Squiff going to pop this Rainmaker shield. Are they going to grab it, or are they going to let it reset? Looks like they're opting to just hold the area, going back to grab it right now. That carrier is the one who, I believe, had the cooler. I believe that was the Tri-Slasher. Had a cooler ready, so they're not going to have that for the team right now going into this engagement.
Yep. Vac, both Vac players are definitely put in a difficult spot here for this match, because both teams have both opposing teams have things that they would want to Vac. Unfortunately, this Rainmaker player, that carrier, just gets put in a very bad position, and unfortunately, it was the Tri-Slasher who had special ready. That isn't good, because now they are at a special disadvantage. With Cooler being active for Chief Executives and a very good good use of it to break check and reset the game and actually equalize the game relatively evenly now. This is still anyone's match.
Yeah, and because Chief Executives used the cooler right before they went down, you see they were right back into mid so quickly, and they are trying to make Swiss cheese out of people, but it is a 3v3 at this point. Luna starting to look forward, gets a snipe!
Oh.
The vacuum coming out there, eating away at Chief Executives, looking to see if they can get some points on here, because this is not a safe lead whatsoever.
Indeed, this lead is extremely insecure. You can't take it lightly. You have to defend things for your life, but the lead is going to get extended a little bit. Squiff creating some breathing room for themselves, but they burned a lot of specials just to get a couple points. They're trying to force right. Vac is not up. Tri-Strikes attempting to burst their pop the bubble. It does pop, but the shooter does actually gets away with that. I'm actually surprised they did. Crab
they were able to get out.
Yep, Chief Executives using Crab to create some space. It might just work for them. Rainmaker reset, prevented, but it's a bit of a difficult spot to get themselves out of. A bomb, barely outside of the Vac's range, does take out the carrier. Very fortunate for Squiff in this situation.
Yeah, you see, they can pop this. They can start moving forward. They don't have a vacuum ready just yet. This is the path that is much scarier to take on the Rainmaker. It looks like they're not opting to go left. They are going to get shot down for that. Now the Vac is ready, which means they're going to easily get the pop. There's less than 10 seconds remaining.
Oh, they're running away with it.
Yeah, I wonder how far back they're gonna try to run back, but they're being chased down.
Oh, okay. That was close. Woo. They could have put themselves in a difficult position there if they had that gotten picked.
That was scary.
Indeed.
Absolutely. If they'd gotten picked off there, that would have been a really quick and easy way for Chief Executives to run away with a last-minute lead in overtime.
Mm-hmm. That would have been incredibly awkward to have been like, hey, team, I'm making the call to run this the other way and potentially just seal the game, and then dying. And then your team looks at you as just like, so about that, how'd that work out for you, Chief?
And so you just go, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Oopsies. It's bleh. And then they just go, So it just deep in, just a great, like long inhale, deep exhale. Sigh. Okay, Mako Mart Tower. Fun.
Another aggressive tower map.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is one of the more. Honestly, I enjoy it. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. I enjoy Tower Mako. It's very fun. Like, you've got plenty of places you can jump to, you know, get aggressively hold the enemy's position if you manage to clear them off it. But the defending team definitely has ways of, you know, affecting Tower from a safe distance here. It's one of the more equal maps. Again, Tower being a very snowbally mode by nature, this map is probably one of the more even ones.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. So long as both teams manage to hold up their retakes pretty well, have a good defense, as well as being able to push in farther. Man, you can go in deep on this stage and really make things difficult for your opponents to get back in. But, you know, if you all funnel in on that, then you're just setting up an easy space for everybody else to get into mid on their... They get a really nice, easy retake. So it's one of those things where you got to be careful not to overextend yourself when you are the ones attacking. But because there are so many, like, juicy ways to get into your opponent's plat off of the tower. But what about that? There's around that, getting to that second tower checkpoint between, you know, the third and the second, is a bit of a choke point because you're right by the enemy's ledge. Is that gonna prove a problem for either these teams, or do you think they're gonna stick with their ink backs and maybe be able to force through those choke points?
I mean, again, both teams seem to be sticking with the VAC, so they definitely have an opportunity, and there's definitely some safe spots you can use VAC to cover the tower with. There definitely are. It's just like, it's getting your VAC into that position, and like, it's whether the fact that the enemy team is like aware of the fact of where those spots are, where they can keep, you know, where you can keep your team safe to break check. It's definitely gonna be like a question of positioning of anything else, of like, when is the VAC ready? Is it a good time to use the VAC now, or do you want to save the VAC to try and break the check, or do you want to just try and play it safe and use it to just outright just get an explosive push? It really comes down to like, it's going to come down to the in the moment context of these things, I think, for this match, given that the teams are relatively equal in terms of like special power. Yeah,
and especially, you know, so long as the entire team's on the same page for what are we looking to get out of using this VAC. I think like when everybody's on the same page, which, you know, comes from practicing together, you know, maybe meeting with a coach, going over strategies together, figuring out what you want to do. Because it is hard to communicate your plans quick enough in Splatoon. This game changes, like, the game state can drastically change within 1 second.
Yeah, a literal breakneck swivel of the game state. It's just like, hey, everything's going fine, everything is dandy, and then suddenly, a flank, what would be a sploosh, a carbon, or just a reroller has decided to materialize on your left side and has killed 3 of your teammates. Huh? What? What just happened?
Yep.
And then you get smashed. And then you get flattened as well, because, you know, failure of perception.
Yeah, game awareness is huge at all levels of Splatoon.
Yeah,
I
indeed.
think, like, all of our players can stand to benefit from game awareness practice. Definitely looking at myself.
Yeah, same.
Game
We all
3.
have the distractions.
Chief Executive's looking to get a game win off of this. We've got that leader. We've still got that splatter scope. We've got the tri-sloshers here. This looks fun. I like these comps.
This is gonna be a fun game. This is gonna be a fun game to watch. Again, players, like, both teams relatively matching each other again, which is quite interesting. This is probably gonna be the most, like, even game we're going to see. Outside of some of the other brawls we've seen. Where did that splat come from? Was that a bomb? Never mind, it's been equalized. It's an absolute
I'm not
brawl.
even sure. But
both sloshers squaring off, and
it's
it's literally the teams going blow for blow here. Like, both Squiff want the 3-0. Chief Executives want to go home with at least 1 point. That comes out from both teams, but Oh my goodness. Oh no! The
ooh.
off-angle snipe to make sure that the vac doesn't stay on tower. It's just an absolute bloodbath. Nothing's getting done. Both teams are just dogpiling each other.
Oh, and
Oh, what
Luna
a shot!
getting sniped off. However, Tony did also go down, so they were not even able to clear that first checkpoint. Star's going to try to make that a reality now, counting points down at this point. Bombs are being thrown onto the tower, but nobody from Chief Executive's able to actually put their bodies near the tower just yet. And now Vampy is going to use that vacuum. The strikes are going to get that plat. I do wonder if the Tri-Slosher is going to move forward from here. Looks like they're trying to remain on the tower right now. Are they going to try to make the jump forward? Looks like they're trying to break this check right now, dancing around the tower pole to not get sniped. They are past, I think, the hardest checkpoint on this map, though.
Uh-oh, looks like the push might be falling apart, though. They come to a checkpoint they couldn't get through because they just used their resources. However, again, the score has been put in solidly in Squift's favor, and now Chief Executives are going to try and get a push of their own going, but they've lost a player. They lost their Booyah Bomb, and now they have to make up for it. 2 players go down on the side of Squift, and the 2 players remaining have been sent reeling back to their side. Unfortunately, they have regrouped, but the Elite has been downed. That's not good. The 96 also goes down, and Squift are looking to make a solid counter push after the devastating blow they were dealt at the start of the match. Oh no, they have a player on point. It's a shooter. This might go poorly. Booyah Bomb comes out, but where is it pointed? Oh no!
Oh, looks like that is going to be the end of Chief Executive's push right here. Not able to clear that second tower checkpoint, not even able to touch it just yet. But Star is able to get that pick, able to put down the tactical for the rest of the team to grab on the right stack. And they're doing a good job of controlling the space here, keeping things painted. And the vacuums from both sides coming out here just to make sure that nobody can get in. Strikes coming out, I think just to control that right stack area. And a wipeout onto Chief Executives is going to look real bad for them because there's only one tower checkpoint standing in the way of Squift running away with the knockout.
Yeah, this could be absolutely devastating if they don't manage the problem now. 2 go down on the side of Squift. Chief Executives, again, scrambling to take the tower back. They do, in fact, hold. But the thing is, the Elite is in a prime position to maintain the aggression because both of those players are just going to jump back in with Cooler.
Yeah, so and that's exactly what they did. They came in quick.
Yes, they did. And the teams are once again going to clash in mid. Chief Executives are going to have to claw their way out of this situation now. They have not enough time left. They have very little time left. They've lost 3 players again. And the VAC is the only thing standing between them and losing a wipeout again. The VAC is there to just back off safely. A pretty valid use of it considering the context. And they do get their team back in. A bomb comes out. A good shot too. And this might be a good way to start the push again. But careful, there's somebody on the right that they have neglected to acknowledge. And it will bite them in the back for it. They lose 2 players once again. And it's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, you had to completely back off of the rest of that push. They maybe have one more solid push that they could summon left in them, but they have to clear mid again. Luna is keeping an eye from the middle area. Fish is going to try to get a flank onto the stack, but goes down for it. The Tri-Slosher is going to look at them, try to get a pick. They are behind the back, but a player able to take them out before they can take out Vampy. The back shots are flying back and forth across the map. There are 2 members down on Chief Executives. They do need to have everybody up if they want to have a good push going into the final 15 seconds of this, but
good shot.
Snipe, what can you say?
What can you say, except we are on the edge of our seats. We want to see both of these teams walk away with the win. It's 9 seconds left on the clock. Both teams need to touch tower if they want an ideal outcome. And now, we are going to be set in a situation where somebody cannot get off. You need to do things right. No! You get body stacked. Unfortunately, your team was not ready to assist you. And Chief Executives are going to walk home empty-handed. And again, unfortunately, a net loss on this set. Whereas Squiff will come home with a 3-0 and very happy with their unexpected winnings in the industry. And there we go, I'm done with the puns. Right, we can probably... Yeah, thank goodness, we can stop with that. Again, we're running low on the funny juice.
Man, yeah, that was it was a 3-0 set, but I think several of those games did go back and forth a lot. Were very, very close. But that tower game felt really, really strong for Squiff. They did not let up on the gas pedal. So close to getting the knockout even.
Indeed. It was so close. It was almost painful.
Sometimes you look at the scoreboard and you're like, oh, a 3-0, but then you like go back and when you watch the set, you're like, oh, this was really back and forth, actually. Like, there could have been some small changes, or like, maybe like a team got a lucky break and they could have run away with it.
Indeed, yeah. One wrong move and it could have been like one small variation in the outcomes of those matches, during those matches, and we could have had a very different like set of winners here for this one.
Yeah, and as for the other teams in round 3, the Court of Yonilawagi is going to get a set win over Archipelago 2-1. 6ix9ine is going to get a set win 2-1 over Inkaboo. And Year Zero did get a set win over Divergence 3-0. And there is another round of Swiss, but it will be the top 5 teams of this tournament will be moving on to Top Cut, and the bottom 4 teams will move on to the bottom cut of the tournament after Swiss.
Yep. Okay. We have the... okay, so it looks like we have the set, and it looks like we're going to be watching Squiff yet again, going up against Divergence this time. Definitely interested to see how this goes. We have a Stamper player from Divergence. We have a backline with a carbon in their pocket. A backline Hydra player, it seems. We have another 52 player. And a bit of a general. There's also a generalist, and last player is their substitute is okay. Yep, frontliner. Okay, yeah, definitely interesting to see these. So they don't. Unlike the last game where we saw that both teams were trying to pivot around, play around their vacuum. I'm not sure how Divergence is going to deal with the vacuum from Squiff this time. They definitely do have the weapons to deal with it.
Yeah, they do. Rifuika does also have a vac of their own on 96 Gal that it looks like they've put a lot of time into. I'm not sure if that will get pulled out here. Rifuika does also play Splash. So I'm not sure. I don't know if it's map or mode dependent. I mean, 96 Gal players impressed me because I feel like the RNG feels much less kind on 96 than it does on 52.
Yeah, it's after the first shot, it's just gambling.
Yeah, at every shot, you're just like, oh, dang it!
Ah, dang it! Ah, dang it! And then you hit 2 shots in a row. I can't stop winning!
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people who play 96 have they have a love-hate relationship with the weapon.
I mean, true, yeah.
They're like, I love it,
you kind
but on some days I hate it.
I mean, at one point I have to assume that you just get numb to the fact that you're going to miss a shot.
Yeah, you just have to expect it. When you don't, it's a happy little accident.
Yeah, literally like you hit 2 shots. Yippee!
Yippee! Yeah.
Okay. So, hold on. Let's check them out as well while we're at it. Okay, so looks like we'll be starting on Zone's Barnacle. Definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, you know what? I've seen a lot of Japanese teams employ vacuum on zones, and it can be really good so long as you have your teammates with you alive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's always a bit awkward when you pop vac and suddenly everybody just, ceases to exist around you, and then suddenly the entire enemy team is just looking at you. They're just waiting. They're just waiting for you to
what? You gonna clean the ground?
Nice vac, loser. What are you gonna do? Clean us to death?
Yeah, that is always a really awkward moment. You're just like, oh, my team died. I
Man.
am just holding a vacuum cleaner. I can't even bonk them with it.
They're really just, so guys, nice weather we're having today. Please don't kill me.
Please leave me alone.
I'm praying for the, I'm praying for the day that Vac is able to prematurely cancel and fire its shot. Praying for that day that we actually get that change. Maybe in the next game, surely.
Yeah. Not a thing in this one.
Not yet.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, so both teams here, I believe, are looking like they're gonna, they're both currently with their standings, 1 win, 2 losses so far in sets. So with that, they're both currently set up to be in bottom cut. However, when one of these teams is gonna emerge victorious, and depending on how some of their other stats went, how many other games they've won, how well their opponents did, will also factor into where they end up in the rankings for tiebreakers. It could potentially finish in top cut.
Yeah, both the teams still have a decent chance of making it if they perform well in this last set. So I'm willing to bet that they're both, what would be fiending for those points. I think, yeah, no. I don't see exactly I think I'm gonna leave some of my predictions until the end of the first match, because it's, again, I'm not quite sure what to expect out of Divergence, and we saw that Squiff was able to put on a very solid show last match. So yeah, I'm gonna leave predictions until maybe after the first match.
True. Yes, getting into it soon here.
Soon.tm.
Soon, as in now.
Right now. Alright, let's see this. Okay, Squiff actually making no changes to their comp. Whereas here we see an interesting one. We have Tent. Wait, is that's Cream Tent?
Yeah, that's the one with Trumps. I assume Trumps for zones. But I think we're gonna back out for something.
Oh.
But
if it was
I hope we have that Tent.
If it's a missing put on the weapons, I'm gonna be a bit disappointed, because I would like to see that Tent actually.
Right? I want to see that Tent. We never get to see Cream Tent. I got to see Cream Tent yesterday during Bottom of the Barrel, but that's because it's considered one of the weaker tent kits, so that one was allowed because it was a gimmick tournament where a lot of the strong weapons aren't allowed to be played.
Ah, boo.
Oh, yeah, right, they put it as PC, right?
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah,
you did see that. You're so excited by the tent.
Yeah, we were captivated by the fact that, well, we saw the Splatoon equivalent of a unicorn. Make a wish, lads.
Make a wish. I want to see Cream Tent Umbrella with the Trumps.
I honestly, I still find Chumps incredibly interesting as a special. Can you imagine being able to jump to one of the chumps, fake replace one of the chumps with an actual jump? That would be so cool.
It would. I did,
Although
and I don't know.
Could result in some abuse, given the fact that those chumps can get into places where you're not normally able to get.
I did get tricked by a super chump the other day. I think it may have just been a coincidence, but there was a player who jumped exactly to where a super chump was, and I was like, oh, obviously this is just gonna be a chump, so I'm not even gonna look at it. And then all of a sudden a player landed there, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a player.
Okay.
So that was amusing, and definitely some kind of accident. But do you think the chumps are going to be used possibly for any fights and whatnot, or is that going to be just for zones, trying to get some paint onto the zone, or maybe a little bit of both?
Probably a little bit of both. I think it's one of those specials that you can use depending on the context. It definitely has its has its priority. It's probably got its priorities dead set on, you know, making sure they get put on zone to put paint down, put pressure on the enemy team to at least do stuff.
You can work
So-
really nicely with the chip comp. You got some, you know, fellow teammates getting in a little bit of chip damage here and there, and you just get a
Indeed.
little bit of chip damage from a chump.
Yeah, a little bit of chip is always appreciated. I mean, also, like, the blast radius on those things is actually quite surprising, especially the 30 hitbox.
It is, yeah. I've definitely gone down to a chump where I thought I was safe. And then I was like, oh, I was weaker than I thought I was.
Okay, we are back, and with all the with the problems resolved, we are now back on the right mode, hopefully.
Yeah, we've got all this, leave all the same,
There's the square.
same weapons. So we've got the backline of the the E-Leader in Luna's hands on Squiff. We've got an opposing heavy splat lane coming out from Divergence.
Indeed. And looks inside, looks at the shells on Barnacle and the Dime. Wow, they have it square. Either way,
Oh my
Divergence looking
God.
to make a strong start with a very convincing push onto the enemy plat, and they will take the space. An ink mine goes off and marks all four of them, though. That could turn to their advantage. A Vat comes out for a counter push.
That's coming out to
And
let people get
smack
in.
dab
There is a
where it needs to
pick!
be.
A pick with it, but here comes the Booyah Bomb. Gonna be able to put onto the corner of that zone. Gets a pick, able to stay alive until the
And a delayed
whiteout happens
wipeout.
onto them, opening it up for Squiff to come in and stop the points.
Indeed, Divergence has now set on the back foot. They have a decent lead, but that can quickly change given how quickly the objective time ticks down. Uh-oh, looks like the heavy splatling's been caught out on its own. The shooter will take full advantage of that, and Divergence loses 2 players again. Strikes come out to ensure that the zone doesn't flip, and another one goes towards the enemy team.
Oh.
Whoa, no! The 10 jumped in and got immediately sent back. Return to sender in the literal sense. Uh-oh.
But this,
bomb.
not the Tri-Slasher going down there. This could be a lead swap happening in just a second here that is going to go into Swift's favor. Divergence still trying to get in onto their retake. It is going to be a 3v3 situation.
Oh,
no,
no.
going down. Another for Divergence. Able to go down in a trade, but this is only going to benefit Swift right now. They're about to enter 20 units remaining onto this zone, and they are not letting up.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, yeah, Divergence is only trickling in, and the heavy is not where it needs to be there. It's off in the corner getting bullied. And again, oh no. But, okay, Divergent does manage to save themselves a bit, and they do manage to get the zone flipped. However, they need to get themselves in a better position to at least hold it next time. Booyah Bomb comes down on
use
themselves.
that Booyah Bomb to stay alive,
Oh,
but
no,
gotta go
but
down.
trades
Manages
out.
to sort of gets to somebody to come down with them. There are several penalty points that Squiff is going to have to count through to be able to threaten that knockout right now. And now Divergence
no.
is going to take that back, but going down to a snipe, their backline going down. That is going to be really, really rough for Divergence to keep the momentum moving forward. They're doing okay right now. The jump coming back in, and of course you get that tent shield to be able to block some of the damage
Yep.
coming in. But I don't know, the ink back coming out
Oh,
might...
no, they did it too.
Oh,
Oh,
able to
my
get a little bit
goodness.
of chip damage off of the shield. Rikuika is playing off of that, and the best when you get your teammates to come in and back you up on a
It
fight.
is, but the slosher just comes out of nowhere and abuses the ledge to kill them, but does get traded out again. Both teams going blow for blow. Divergent have the opportunity to switch the lead here. They just need to hold on just a bit longer. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Jam, no! Going down
Oh my
there, just
goodness.
so close. They've got 2 members up. They need to hold it a little bit longer, but it's going to swap
do.
over to Divergence's favor. But that's awfully yellow. Going to change back to Swift, but Divergence did get the lead.
Oh no,
there.
the Booyah gets vacked! And oh my goodness. That is like, oh my goodness, yeah. Squiff able to, again, make a strong counter push after Divergence's hold. And now, again, Divergence does need to contest them. They don't have much time at all. A bomb at the worst time does take one out. And a solid dink from the other. Oh no, this is not looking good for Divergence. They have 20 seconds left on the... Oh, wait, no. 2 specials are going to come in. And they're going to attempt to flip the zone. Will it be enough?
but the
It doesn't
streaks!
neutralize. The zone is still... The zone does flip. Okay, Divergence has a minute.
They have a minute. The lead has changed back into Swift's favor by 1 point yet again. Now 3-4. Divergence is going to have to do a long hold here, but getting the picks is going to make that a lot easier to do. Ripu Ika with a tent, able to draw a lot of attention and have a nice tent shield for the rest of the team. Going to feel really nice against that leader, but the vac coming out from Vampy again. Not going to be able to take down that shield, but it doesn't matter. The shot's coming out and is able to cap it yet again in Swift's favor. Able to stall that a little bit longer, but they did lose a lot of people and resources in the process.
And they do also lose their tri-strike. That is going to be a big problem. And they do have Divergent has cooler. They've lost a player, but it's not going to be, and they're not going to be going for long. And again, now, they've lost their bucket again! Their cooler has gone set back again! This is an ideal situation for Divergent to make the hold, and it looks like they will make said hold. Vac is ready, so is Wavebreaker, but they don't have the teammates to support the push. And they just need to hold on for a couple more seconds. The Vac isn't out, the Vac is gone, and it's... and they do flip the lead last second. Divergence makes a solid hold and actually wins game 1 there. Well done.
Back and back and back and back and forth between both of them, but still in the end able to go into Divergence's favor. I think that previous push from Squiff being able to cap the zone when they did to preserve the lead still set up to make it so much harder for them to do their retake down members and resources. They just needed, I think, a little bit more time, but time was not on their side.
Yeah, time is... Oh, I mean, time is no player's friend unless you're the one who's holding the zone. Because the attacking team has to come to you in a majority of the situations. If they don't approach you correctly, or if you present them very few opportunities to, you know, break through your defense, well, it can become a less than ideal situation, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that certainly can be less than ideal. So going into game 2 is going to be on Scorch Gorge, Clam Blitz. Gonna set up Squiff to have to equalize this. Like we said, both teams here are sitting at a 1 match win, 2 matches lost going into this is the final round of Swiss. Both teams are going to want to take the set here to try to have a chance of getting into Top Cut.
Indeed, this is a pivotal match for them, for both teams here. Like, one team has a point advantage and wants to seal the deal to have their highest chance, like to have a good chance of getting into Top Cut. The other one is trying to claw their way into a situation where they can do the same. It's going to be very... I think this is probably going to be the most intense gameplay out of these sets so far.
Yeah, and Scorch Gorge can be a pretty AoE favored map, but it can also be a really Charger favored map. If either of these Chargers can set up, that's going to be really, really nice for them. Again, like we said, or sorry, not either Charger, but if the leader can get set up here, they're going to have that range advantage over the heavy Splatling. However, if their teammates can keep that Charger occupied and set up the heavy Splatling, take out the other frontliners, they can just run down the leader here.
Indeed. If you leave the leader exposed, they may just be presented with a golden opportunity to prevent them from jumping out. But yeah, I do concur. This is probably the map where it's going to be a little difficult to maintain a solid hold on the choke point, given the fact that the grates is always an option, especially seeing as I do believe one of them has a Splatling. If the Splatling gets on the grates, it's going to be a nightmare situation for their backlines.
Yeah, you just hold that charge and press W key, go forward.
Or just straight back and forth, become unhittable.
Yeah, you're like, oh, where am I going? What am I going to do? Am I going to go up on the grate? Am I going to go back on the grate? Where am I going?
Where am I going? Ooh, 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 weave.
Weave.
Anyway, we have the next game lined up. Let's get started when they're ready.
Oh, did we mention that this tent player picked up Tent Umbrella only a few days ago?
Wait, really?
Yeah!
I was not aware of this. That's impressive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You just be like, hey, I just picked this up.
No big deal. I'm just them. I am in fact built. I'm in fact built different.
Alright. Still got
No
the leader
comp
versus
changes
the
from
heavy.
Yeah, no comp changes from either team here. That's an interesting one. Then again, it's worked for Squish so far. Perhaps they're sticking with Unreliable. And then again, why would you stop what's got momentum on the side of Divergence? Both teams, again, classic clan blitz situation. Oh, an early pick. Divergence does lose their cooler, and the shooter makes a beeline for the other players, but does get cut off by the Splatling.
Yeah, right now Star does see the opponent, but will get taken out due to some teamwork coming out from Divergence. Rifu is gonna use the Super Chumps. We're deploying the boys, deploying the tent shield forward. Is gonna lose their teammate though. I hope they don't get too choked out by this leader. So the leader was like, I see you, I see you.
Yeah, but the Booyah is patient. The Booyah Bomb is patient and causes the team to splinter momentarily. But again, nothing's coming of it. It's just a classic Clan Blitz neutral battle. The Splatana goes down. Both Wave Breakers drop in the same exact spot, but one of them is going to get shredded. The other one stays. Oh my goodness. This is just... I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't explain it other way. Like, this is just going to come down to who actually makes a breakaway push first. Cooler is ready on the side of Squiff, and the other team does not have anything ready to answer it, but they lose numbers advantage. They also lose Cooler. And now the tent is set up on their side and has scored the first clam.
Ash does have another power clam, able to throw that in there, down to 48 points remaining until knockout. The tent is stalling right here, able to use their tent shield to stay alive right now. They get a pick, they have more clams, but not enough time to get those in, but still, they've been able to hold some space. The tent will, in the end, go down there, but a push to 48, definitely not a bad way to start.
I completely agree. Divergence have definitely made a strong mark on the start of this match, but again, we have over half of the time remaining, and Squiff has been. We've seen Squiff have been put in some similar situations before in the past set. So I'm definitely interested to see how they work around Divergence's strong presence here.
3 specials ready to come out from Squiff. They're going to use Wave Breaker first. They do still have strikes and a vacuum ready, but they don't need to use them just quite yet. The vacuum's going to come out. They have not used the strikes just yet. They're running in with that. Going to fire the back shot forward. They don't get to throw the power clam in yet, though.
No, unfortunately, they got preoccupied with the bucket, and that is going to send them back to the drawing board, and they've lost their power clam. However, it is not the worst situation, seeing as they still have a relatively decent control of mid. I say that as they begin to, again, they start to fight in the bottom pit, where it's going to be a very difficult situation for Divergence to get out of.
And Star backed out of there, I think, because very, very close to having Cooler ready. That snipe from Luna! Gonna be
We do have
really,
a flank
really
on the
pivotal.
right side from the tent. Can they get something out of it? They do. They send one person back to the respawn. Can they send another? Well, good movement to avoid getting detected by the wave break, and they've just created themselves a big problem for the mid line. But no, they get double teamed. The shooter turns around and decides to help, and is now cleaning up the other players.
Members are going down fast on Divergence. Squiff knows that this is the time to move forward. That's why they've got the back ready. Star misses the throw, and it gets thrown into a not worst part of the map to be on. Luna is able to grab it and save it and throw it in, but I think Vamp knows. I'm not going to be able to throw in these clams in time. We have to give up this push right now. We'll set up for another one.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems that Squiff is going to face here is that Divergent does have a very solid answer to both the tent and the back in the form of that Splatana Stamper. They need to deal with that if they want to get a solid push going. Although they have made a decent amount of progress with their first dunk, they still have a fair point way to go before being able to actually make a solid push on Divergence's lead.
Rifu is going to be playing the side here, able to stall out some areas with the tent shield, being very effective there. There is going to be a member down here. The 96 gal over on Squiff is the one who has all of the clams for Squiff. They are going to need to get a lot more clams to be able to take the lead here, but I like that they are trying to bide their time here. But they go down, and they had back ready, and all of those clams. That is actually quite disastrous for Squiff. They do have a power clam ready, but they need to get some picks and clear some space.
Indeed. So long as they have this power clam active, they should be able to at least maintain a decent amount of special generation, because both teams do have a decent amount of paint. This can result in a... Oh, never mind, I keep speaking too soon. The 10 does get 2, will cause a very bad situation for Squiff. And, well, now all Squid can really try and do is try and stay alive and maybe force a situation where they can get to the enemy basket. But time is running out. They are in overtime.
They're jumping in a power clamp!
Oh, wait, no, yeah, that's gonna finish it! Good game.
That will secure the lead, the game match set for Divergence. This is a play all three, but as far as they're concerned, they have now taken the set. They will end up finishing Swiss with a 2-win, 2-loss record. They definitely, you want to win that third game, make your odds of finishing in Top Cut even stronger, because even with a 2-2 record, that's got to be tight making it into Top Cut.
Indeed. Like, I hate to say it, that was just such an oppressive match from Divergence. Like, they just did not give a single inch when they were able to get things going. Like, the Stamper being, like, the Bucket as well was incredibly sneaky, getting strong picks to cause destabilization, and then their team just comes in and just sweeps up the rest on the majority of the occasions.
And their third game is going to be on Museum Rainmaker. I believe we saw Museum Clams earlier. Museum Rainmaker can be... sometimes it's super stally. It's still a museum map, so, you know, if backlines have a really solid defense, it can be hard to get a lot of points, but it is Rainmaker. And we do also have a vac, so it can be very aggressive and very quick. I think if Luna can get set up with a leader, that's going to be great. But we've seen Divergence play really strongly around that leader. I think their 10's been doing a great job of pulling some attention away. And so long as they're set up with the shield from their Relic Canopy protecting them, they're not going to get one shot out of nowhere from the leader.
Yeah, it's true. And, like, also the tent has been doing a really good job of pushing the objective, keeping their tent in the places it needs to be, while also, again, doing a really good job of making sure that they can fighting as well. Like, they fight, the way they fight, they're able to just stay alive for so long. They're using their canopy very well.
They are, and they picked up this weapon a few days ago. This is not an easy weapon to pick up.
Yes, I have seen. I have seen all manner of skill levels when it comes to tent. I've seen those that swim a little too fast and end up on the wrong side of their shield, only to instantly, explode. And then you've got the others who you just can't...
from the bomb.
Yeah. And then you've got those tent players that you just can't seem to kill. It's literally just, why won't you die? And then they jump out and it's just like, come on.
That's, they're playing with you. They're like, I'm playing with my food. I'm eating time here.
Waiter, more time wasted, please. But anyway, it's back. We're into round 3. Divergence looking to maybe score another point to increase their chances even further of getting into Top Cut. Whereas Squiff potentially trying to increase their standing in Low Cut. So we'll have to see which one wants this win more at this point.
We've got a blaster now coming out from Divergence. That is a custom blaster with the point sensor and the triple splashdown. Rifu is switched over to the vanilla tent umbrella with the ink vacuum, I think, because this is Rainmaker. But is going to call that on the side.
Yeah, unfortunately their team did not push up with them, despite the fact that they had the attention of the entire thing. Oh my goodness, a blaster shot to the face is going to send these shots straight back to the respawn, and an attempted flank from the Bucket is going to also get thwarted by their teammates. Oh my goodness, that's 3.
That is 3. They've got eyes on another. They see the leader. Whoa. They're gonna go down. They're gonna use the splashdown.
Yeah. And the blaster going on a tear has kicked the door. Again, I use the same expression. It's kicked the door wide open for Divergence to get a strong initial lead. But the VAC comes out to stop that push in its tracks.
Winu trying to get around here will get picked off at this point. But the back shot collateral taking people out one after the other. That is going to stop that push for now, making sure that Squiff is not going to get taken out so quickly. 44 is easily beatable.
Indeed, 44 is a very achievable score here for Squiff to achieve, especially with the weapon comps that they have. But it is going to be, again, Divergence has historically not made things easy for them in this set. So why would they start now? Again, a lone Splatana on the right of them is going to cause them problems. They aren't acknowledging him, nor are they dealing with him. The Booyah Bomb is going to take out the carrier, and the other members of their team are going to trickle in and clean them up. Oh no! The canopy deploy, tragically, is too slow to prevent that bomb from killing Rifu.
Rifu will go down there, and the booyah into the Rainmaker who was stuck in the corner was a great use of it. I'm sure that Divergence was just trying to put it there to make it, in an annoying spot to be able to grab it and move forward here. But, at this point, they're not even holding the Rainmaker, they're holding the enemy plat.
Yep. But again, they need to be careful. They are trudging in enemy, in a terrain where the enemy team has a big advantage, and the vac is going to come out. But another vac comes out, but gets immediately sent packing. Oh no, this could be the opening that Squiff needs to start a strong push. We have Cooler ready, we have Tri-Strike ready, and now here's an opportunity, but they need to take it quickly because Divergence has already respawned and is moving back to their plat. They need to be careful. The Rainmaker carrier makes a break for it, does in fact score, and the Tri-Strike secures that dunk. Now Divergent isn't as safe as they seemed to be at the start of this match.
That Tri-Slasher was so close to getting splatted. They had so little health remaining. That triple Ink Strike really was important for ensuring that they were going to survive long enough to get that dunk happening. But everything has swapped back over into Divergence's favor. But no, not able to get any points. That snipe, I guess they were just out of the range of the vac.
Oh no!
I don't know, vac's a little weird.
The vac ends right as the Rainmaker explosion goes off, meaning that tragically the defenders have just been put in a worse situation than they started. Oh no, 2 more defenders down. It's just up to the support and, well, both support weapons. It's up to the 96. Can they land the shots? They do. They save their team from a wipeout. They save their team from a knockout.
Yeah, 15, that is a much better score to sit at for a lead. If Divergence has a really strong defense, and can bleed time off of the clock, get picks to slow down Squiff's push, that's going to be very beneficial for them. And that looks like exactly what they're doing right now. They have not given up the opponent's plat. Ash is setting up to hold on the opponent's spinner right now. Does have not quite enough special charge for that Cooler, is about halfway there. At this point, just needs to hold their ground right now. Indeed. And the Tent's doing exactly what the Tent's been doing this whole time, creating space. But
oh my goodness. Blast a moment. And the thing is, that Rainmaker does not need to move. Another one! Are we gonna get a 4th? We do get a 4th! 5! Are they gonna get 6? Do they get 6? Do I hear 6? I hear 6! Yes. Oh my goodness! Come on, give me a 7th. I want to see a 7th! No! They backed off! But again, this blaster has just, decided, I'm gonna close out the game right now. End it now. Give me a mercy ruling.
They're still pushing in.
It's just bullying.
Luna. There's another. They see Vampy. They're poking at that Vampy.
Oh no! Saved by the buzzer.
They didn't even have to hold the Rainmaker. They just had to make sure that Squiff couldn't leave their own plat, leave their spawn.
Beating a dead horse at that point. Unfortunately, it is. Divergence does in fact take the 3 games in a row here. Squiff attempting to make a strong, attempting to make a, last-ditch effort to at least score, get something on the board. They tragically do not.
They do not, but it was a valiant effort from them. Divergence is going to finish 2-2. However, all the other, not all the other teams, we still have one more set waiting to be completed right now. But right now, until that set is finished and finalized, Divergence is sitting at the top of bottom cut. That might change after the set between Court of Yonilawagi and Inkaboo ends up being finished. That is currently a 1-1. So I don't know. Did Divergence do enough to make their way into inching into the bottom of top cut, or were they gonna finish at the top of the bottom cut versus who knows? It's not up to them at this point.
Yep, it is up to the fate of the rest of the matches at this point. But they have set themselves in a really good position, and well, it's the ideal spot they could have done to set themselves to get top cut at this point. So they've done the best they can.
they have. But that's going to be it from the two of us. Swiss is now over.
Yeet.
Upcoming is the brackets portion of the Academy Showcase. So we got to do the regular, where can we find you on the internets here?
Indeed. As for myself, you can find me on every social. It's the same name as my username just about everywhere. It's not that much. I don't post much. I'm a commentator. That's about it. However, where can people find you, Rose? I do believe you do some more stuff than I do. So
I'm over on Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch, so on and so forth as Rose of Battle. Only thing I will plug is that I am currently doing a charity campaign for the Fred Hutch Cancer Center, and that's going on for a couple more days. If you're interested, you can find more info over on my Blue Sky. So thank you. This was the first time Snug Kieran and I got to commentate together, and it was a delight.
Indeed, it was a pleasure working with you as well. So
yeah,
and just before we leave you, I'm going to remind people, for anybody who's tuned in a little late after the start of the stream, a reminder that the sign-ups for the Season 8 of the Academy are in fact open. So feel free to click any of the links that lead towards, so either in the description or on the pinned message. Do not be afraid to apply. It costs you nothing, and everybody has an equal chance of being selected for the next season of the program. So there is no requirements apart from being new to the scene. That's it. That's all there is. So yeah,
definitely give it a go. I can say I don't think you'll be disappointed if you've been looking into trying out some competitive Splatoon. But while that's it for us, don't go anywhere, because the top cut and bottom cut brackets will be beginning shortly.
Indeed. We'll see you guys later. Everybody have a good night.
everybody, and welcome to the Stronghold Beginners Academy Showcase. Season 7 now underway, and well, when I say now underway, the end of it is about to be set, and we got Top Cut ready for you. My name is Kyon. Joining me on the mic, the one and only Ryan, also known as Vapor. But Ryan, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, we are here. We are getting things going very shortly. Nice 4 rounds of Swiss that just finished up. Top 5 of the 9 teams are moving on to this top cut bracket, and here we are to roll things out. We are going to have. I'm pretty sure it is 6-9 versus Year 0 for our first set here, which is going to be the lower side of semifinals.
Yeah, the lower side of the semifinals is gonna be it's gonna be the team coming up here. Of course, there is another game that is having progress, but I feel like we gotta showcase everybody else that's here with us today. And 6-9 here, of course, finishing the Swiss stages with a very respectable 3-1 record. Year 0 also the exact same way, a 3-1 record, wrapping up Swiss here. We got 2 amazing teams that we have on board here. Real quickly before we begin, this is 6-9, by the way. Ryan, the team that won the mid-season tournament without losing a set, by the way. They had a great record leading in from the end from that mid-season tournament all the way through, trying to see if they could replicate this similar-ish success leading in. Of course, they had 1 set lost to their name. Year 0, well, here we go. They finished 4th in that mid-season, but they definitely have had a strong run as well. Both teams in that 3-1 spot. Of course, with this being the semifinals matchup, I think, Ryan, we could be in for some explosive fireworks.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, very interesting to look out for. And as of the application session earlier on that these teams had, 6-9 was listed as the 2nd highest team in terms of X power.
Oof, that's awesome, to say the least. And I mean, average of 2,200 expires is fantastic. Of course, Year 0 averaging 1,900. We can talk about, of course, just that difference in X power. But I feel like this it pretty much goes along with how we could expect 6-9 to perform leading in to this particular tournament, and I think it definitely shows in style there. Of course, we do see the rosters on screen here, along with Year 0's group as well. And again, Ryan, both teams with that 3-1 record here. Real quickly, Year 0, only game they dropped was, of course, at the beginning. They ended up losing that first one to the court of team, which, by the way, was showcased earlier today in round 1. And then 6-9, by the way, dropping to Dine & Dash, by the way, the team that also gave them a run of their money in the mid-season tournament as well. So if 6-9 could have very much the last laugh coming in, but Dine & Dash, of course, the team that will be covering on the other side down the road, as we do get our semifinals maps here, Ryan. And of course, with these teams, of course, 6 weeks of coaching and mentoring under their belt, they now get to taste some very interesting map modes, to say the least. Undertow Rainmaker, almost a staple, of course, in the competitive community overall.
Yeah, Undertow Rainmaker, very fast and very slow at the same time, can be very stally, or the points can go down 100-0 very quickly. Rolling things out is going to be a double roller composition on the side of 6-9 with that well string to help with that Rainmaker pop.
So something to also keep in mind here with what 6-9 is dishing out. You have double rollers, but double stamps as well. You're going to see almost express-style stamping that is going to be happening in play here from 6-9. Year 0, of course, going to be dishing out. The kid I was shocked to see is the new Dapple skin, the one with the whale, that I'm wanting to see how these double dualies composition is going to work out here for Year 0 as 6-9, by the way, 2-for-2 trade on both sides of the floor, and the Rainmaker kind of just stuck in near its middle here. Both teams just kind of get a feel for each other, trying to look for any advantage that they can find, and that is Sinker, by the way, slashing through, already getting 1, and Juju down to half health will eat the second one, and the Rainmaker being bent up there here by 6-9, and Ryan, they're pushing to the left side.
Yeah, great play by Sinker there, and now it's going to be this Dynamo trying to push up to get that Rainmaker checkpoint, but they're going to get shut down by the 10 attack from behind. Leon now with that Ultra Stamp finds one with that Rainmaker pop as well. Checkpoint in favor of 6 9 and another going down. That's going to be the Dapples and Heavy Edit. Rainmaker still moving forward here as it's going to be this roller going up to clear out some space with that Bubbler.
And using that bubble to help protect the push. The triple splashdown is not going to do its job. And 6 9 from the first minute, immediately picking up the Rainmaker. First checkpoint, and then they roll it with pure momentum. Ryan, 1-0 start to kick off the best of 5 for them.
Yeah, that was gorgeous playing by 6 9 there. And that opening that Sinker had, yeah, they got a really nice slash pick. But they did end up going down. The Rainmaker still ended up going down, but it opened the opportunity for the rest of the team to clear up that left side and push the Rainmaker all the way through, which led to that checkpoint and Rainmaker knockout.
Yeah, and I want to see how that response is going to be here from Year Zero going in again with these teams trying to of course get a feel for what they can, of course, experience wise. And I love, by the way, that 6 9 was able to pull off that left side push record, and they instantly recognized, all right, we can get the checkpoint pretty quickly because we're able to contain everybody from that right hand side of the map, and just the great awareness and also understanding, hey, my roller, the roller on our team, we're gonna send them forward. We're gonna use the bubble perfectly. They pieced it all together, Ryan, and that just really shows what they know so far within the 6 weeks they had. And we got a very fun snowbally map coming up here, Ryan, being that ship-shaped tower control map, and I'm sure everybody's gonna have their fair share of snowbally maps coming up here, especially with this one on the board.
Yeah, tower control ship shape. One of the more general tower control maps that are played throughout this community. And yes, it can be very snowbally, especially once you get towards that second checkpoint area. Like once that tower leaves and goes all the way through that court, it can snowball very quickly, and sometimes you just have to let up points to even get a stop.
And this is gonna be an interesting test for both teams to see if they can take advantage of that, because in most cases you'll see players who are brand new to some team environment here look to see, all right, well, is it our time to push now, or do we need to hold off a bit until we got everybody in position between the first and second checkpoint? Because Ryan, of course, from your land of experience there, that first and second checkpoint deceptively closer than you think, because it goes from one side of the map to the other. So I feel like both teams here, especially with the coach, they're going to have, especially the coaches are probably going to be discussing it with them too. Figure out, all right, how do we make sure we stop them if we ever have to get to that point, and hope that we don't get to that point for sure.
Yeah, it's going to come down to a lot of chip damage and space control from the side of 6 9. We did see that well string. I don't know if the well string in particular is going to roll back out, but any similar range chip combination, or even just a pencil, could help control some space control to get those rollers up forward into really good positions.
And I wouldn't be shocked if they do try to run back what they want to run back there. Of course, the roller sub, you can kind of see the vision what they did in that first map. So you can almost, it feels like, Ryan, you can replicate the exact same way. You can send your vanilla roller up forward, try to see if you can eliminate a few members that are just out of position, just trying to see what they can build off of it. But again, maybe they may go a completely different direction. Riv, the coach for 6 9, maybe trying to figure out, all right, what is our strategy here coming into this matchup? And Year Zero, of course, they're two coaches, by the way, Wonkies and SK, trying to figure out, all right, how do we get a match? tower control as we load right into map number 2, and that is going to be and that again this snowball setup. You got the blaster from Sifno immediately being fleshed into this one, and here are basically the similar double duelist setup. But you look at year 0, by the way, Ryan, it's a very frontline heavy setup that they're going to go with. So the coaching from Wonkies and SK and the rest of the team, why don't we just go full aggro for the most part?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad option either. You just need to find a way to get forward and displace that Wellstring and Dynamo. Those are going to be the two most dangerous weapons for year 0, especially with how short range they are. It's going to be those triple ink strikes rolling out, but getting shut down by Sinker early on. That's going to be a delayed wipe, and very quickly, 6ix9ine is going to roll right back onto the offensive here, taking a fight through this court.
Yeah, and now here comes that first to second checkpoint. Look at everybody else from Stifno to the wiper. Immediately, Joy gets eliminated. Sinker strikes again. And Sean and Juju. Sean getting the trade onto Pasha. They got to get the pick onto Juju there if they want to keep this match going. The trade of triple splashdowns. It's going to be Juju that drops, excuse me. Their 3 members are still right up forward. There's Stifno immediately pushing through. Passion goes through as well. 3 members eliminated. And Ryan, the second checkpoint, pretty much all but secure for 6ix9ine.
Yeah, trying to get back into this year 0. Joy trying to drop in on this tower. They do get a nice little stall, but the Dynamo going to drop right in on that tower. Julcion with the Tri-Slosher, unable to find any picks there. Stefno playing right around this tower, trying to poke people around those ledges to stall out as much as they can, but with one of the members of 6ix9ine on that tower, they're going to ride it all the way to the knockout.
So here's the thing, Ryan. You also go full frontline aggro. You got double duelists. You got the skirmishing options. The Tri-Slosher Nouveau is there. Also the T-Tech on top. What did it amount to, Ryan? They still completely get outranged. I feel like in this situation, I get you see the vision. You want to play aggro against 6ix9ine, but it felt like, Ryan, they just never got a chance to materialize out of the gate, and it's kind of, and again, maybe too much aggression if you can feel it that way, but I'm sure the folks probably were like, it almost worked out for us, especially with this particular map mode.
Yeah, it's also the weaponry as well, going up against a Wellstring and a Dynamo with basically a full frontline heavy team. That makes it really difficult to actually push forward consistently. In situations like that, sometimes you do just have to slow it down, play around specials, and maybe just play the paint game. Maybe find a shard here and there to find some sort of opening to get the rest of your team forward as well.
One thing I want to note here: look at the 2 players that made a lot of impact for 6ix9ine in that ship-shaped tower control map. I'm calling out Stifno and Sinker for sure. I mean, you would know that Sinker pretty much did a phenomenal job in that map 1, but Stifno with that blaster felt like it opened the map up for 6ix9ine, and for this group, it kind of felt like they were playing without any contest whatsoever. And it really I just love how those 2 operate and pretty much allowed their team to make it happen.
Yeah, that blaster play was very good by Sefno there. Just playing to the advantage of blaster, where the rest of your team struggled at a little bit, trying to capture those ledges, especially up high, because you have that large AoE effect from the blaster, so your Wellstring can just play to look at the front, so the Dynamo can just play to look at that left side area.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And on to this third map here, Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz. I know we can talk more about Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz. Basically a staple in the competitive scene, and these players get a taste of it, but I want to ask you, Ryan, of course, being a seasoned player that you are for sure, your team is down to your own team, basically. If you're looking at year 0 from perspective, down to 0, you're basically trying to see if you can stay alive for a final spot in this showcase here. What do you end up doing in this situation? You just have to focus on taking it 1 map at a time, or try to look for more changes, or try to look for more additional changes on top to make this all work?
In situations like this, many people often decide to say, hey, let's go back to the basics and figure out what the team does really well. for the side of Year Zero, they have a lot of aggression options, but they have been struggling at trying to find a way to get in completely. So if you're Year Zero, you want to look around the sides, look around a little bit more of that paint game, and play one by one. Find one pick, play that ground, and move on to the next one.
Yeah, and but also the other thing too, as we just saw, one player basically ran away from the fray here. Can't be a coward now. You still gotta play this out. Obviously, a connection shenanigans moment there for sure. But to your point, it's obviously one game at a time here as well. And I am the same question to 69. Ryan, you're up 2-0. I mean, basically the goal is I assume basically the base idea is if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or just run the same strategy.
Yeah, and sometimes that is just the best way to go about it. Like Barnacle and Dime as well is a very flat map overall, especially compared to Undertow and Shipshape. Barnacle's pretty flat overall, so you can get away with more paint-heavy weapons. You can get away with more upfront fighting weapons, which does favor what Year Zero has, where 69 is mostly around the chip damage, AoE, which helps around those ledges a lot.
Definitely, and I think to your point, they could run back a very similar paint-heavy style that they wanted to do, but of course, in these dynamics, maybe they could look to return back here. Of course, the coaches for Wonky and SK for Year Zero probably, and the players are going to try to figure out how that's all going to work. Of course, get the connections issues all figured out here. I also want to take some time here, Ryan, while we still got some downtime here. Every team in the this Beginner Academy showcase here, just be a showcase on that matter. They also have team managers as well, so shout out to for 69. They got Winry, their manager, as well. Inteleon is Year Zero's manager, basically having to keep the whole team composed, as well, getting themselves all managed here, especially in a comp environment for the most part. And it feels like with each team that's participating here, they're just trying to provide the right environment for them. Just being able to play comp is so much more important, especially in these situations where, again, 69's up 2-0, and they're one win away from advancing.
Yeah, they have the chance to close it out here, and we are going to go back to a more classic, more flat weaponry composition that Year Zero has shown out in game number 1. Jolteon back over to that heavy edit Splatling to give a nice little tactical and range to their team.
Yeah, but also 2 members drop because Puppy with that roller gets also a 3rd member on top of it and could be looking for the quad if they can find Jolteon. They're gonna let Steph know the other member out of this double aggressive setup do its thing as the power clam, gets cut short. Not to worry, they got another one spawned up in the table. That's gonna get picked up and cashed in as well. Make that 60 points remaining here. Jolteon trying to hold the defenses a bit here. They did lose one more clam into the fray, and it will just be still the aggression from 69 keeping this going, but they did lose 2. They will have to retreat here. And Ryan, 54 points remaining, 46 points cashed in. I know there's a saying in comp, you want to get to the 60-point threshold there, and it looks like 69 did just that, even with a little bit more, with just barely, if anything.
Yeah, they still made it. That 60-point threshold is that threshold for 2 power clams, 20 points each to make it 40, and with more points on the board, with this 2-headed monster composition that 69 is going for, with that double aggression, they're going to bring it down to 31 remaining, and potentially even lower, as Leon is going to play the zoning game with this well string, and still playing this offensive end, trying to find something before they get swarmed, going 2 down.
3:15 left to go on the clock, and you put 3 players into Stefano, which is huge. Stefano was doing a lot of damage to Year Zero, but now Year Zero, you're in a situation where you have to just get even any points on the board, and you may have to look to your members to help control it. You get to see Juju trying to do a lot of damage, and again, Juju trying to make stuff happen. Appreciate the effort. They're just not able to get that to materialize. Puppy there picking up some small clams as well, but Year Zero's efforts has still led to 6ix9ine getting a lot of control on the board, having to be forced backwards right now. And Ryan, that's just still Year Zero still playing defense here. Power Clam is available, and they might be looking to score here as the Power Clam, by the way, to add insult to injury for Year Zero, drops into the water, and they just have to continue to hold on defense there. And it looks like Sean has been able to do just that, Ryan.
Yeah, Sean able to hold up on that defensive end, finding a pick there, but ends up going down anyway. Puppy now with this roller, trying to play around all of this paint, move through, find a nice little shark here, finds a pick onto Joy to open up another chance for 6ix9ine as they push it down to 9 remaining. 3 clams can win it all right now, but it's going to be the roller to shark behind it. The rest of Year Zero.
Yeah, that's gonna be Year Zero trying to make it all work out in the end here, and right now they are able to push it through. 6ix9ine is able to get one more on top along with the 2-for-2 trade, but he will finally cash in on the first push of the game, and that will just be 80 points remaining, and still counting down for or not counting down anymore. It's just gonna be the one and done push for Year Zero. You get points on the board, but there is the free power clam that they can take advantage of here. Ryan, it is a score on the board, but they need a lot more.
Yeah, Puppy now playing this left side, and we're back in the neutral game. Paint is key right now if you're Year Zero, but going one down definitely doesn't help that, especially to Stefano on that blaster, and there is Puppy to help swing in and punish that one off. But again, trying to hold as much positioning forward, playing the game for those picks one by one, and with 2 members down, Year Zero is struggling to find a footing into this one.
And with Year Zero kind of just stuck here on this defense. Actually, they have enough power clams for the KO here. They just cannot cash it on this one. All of the power clam tossed in, and they just couldn't get the effort. They are able to find some serendipitous small clams around the basket. And 6ix9ine 3-0 sweep over Year Zero. They are finals bound in the showcase. And honestly, Ryan, that was a very dominant showing from 6ix9ine. Almost made it look like they were ready to go no matter which tournament they were playing in.
Yeah, they definitely showed that they were ready to go, and after winning that mid-season tournament, they just looked forward, going all in as much as they can.
Absolutely dominant display there again. Year Zero though just being stuck in the back foot for most of the set. Again, just kind of a rough spot to be in if you're in any team. Again, absolutely love the effort that they showed, especially throughout the tournament with a 3-1 record there. But of course their run cut short. But again, huge shout outs to the rest of the players. By the way, participating for their first. Maybe their first comp experience, or comp exposure, if you will. Norman, Jolsion, Juju, Sean, and Joy round out that roster with Wonky's NSK their coach and Intellion their manager. So, finishing fourth in that mid-season, finishing top 4. Nothing to sneeze at, really, Ryan, if you look at Year Zero at the end.
Yeah, the Year Zero definitely held up their own, finishing 4th in the mid-season as well. They're still in the same position right now as well. They're in the 3rd place match still. They still have a chance to get 3rd to improve their placement from the mid-season event as well.
Yeah, and finishing 3rd definitely a very good thing to end on. There, Ryan. So I think this could be a chance for you to rebound. Of course, the eyes on the prize for 6ix9ine, trying to see if they can add a win here in their SBA in the SBA Season 7 tournament for sure. So wanting to see how that all plays out. We got to cover the other side of the bracket here, and that is going to be Dine and Dash and Inkaboo. Going to be the other game that's readily available for everybody here. And something I want to keep a note on, Ryan, before we dive into both. Inkaboo, by the way, had to play the same team 2 sets in a row. Round 4 was against the court of if they can get away with long teaming. But yeah, you get the idea there, and they were, and if I were to look at how that played out here, give me a quick second. They finished with a 2-1 record. They had to play the same team again in Top Cut in that first round, basically the qualifier for semifinals. 2-0, they pretty much did their job, and they get to play a team that has an undefeated Swiss record, Dine and Dash. They got their work cut out for them, to say the least, but don't sleep on either team, basically, coming into this semifinals matchup.
Yeah, Dine and Dash rolling into Top Cut, going 12-0 in individual games throughout this Swiss stage after a bye in round 3. So, hey, really good showing for Dine and Dash throughout the event today. And his story right through. There's that Snipe Rider, there's that Sticker Stamper, and on the side of Inkaboo, they're gonna roll with a nice E-Leader 4K.
Oof, okay, so this is the E-Leader from Inkaboo. I think we just saw earlier today where hey, you got basically a lot of vanilla weapons. You got double Ultra Stamp here. Again, what Inkaboo ran from the Swiss stages. I want to see what that can do. And for Dine and Dash, they have that they have that Sticker Stampers. They got a Booyah Bomb. They got the Reach Side. They got a wide variety of weapons that can cover each range. So I want to see how they can all put it here together. 4.5 minutes left to go in the match, and Inkaboo drops 2 right away, and Klebby finally looking for Gone Fishing, and Gone Fishing survives, but drops there at the end. But Dine and Dash, they're pushing for the left checkpoint here. Ryan, they are able to get it, but with a sliver of health left.
Yeah, able to just sneak by and get it from that opposing E-Leader. Juniper rolling around the side, unable to find the pick there. Now Gone Fishing going to use this Ultra Stamp to break that Rainmaker barrier and just missed by the Dapples, able to get a trade there. So, going to be a chance to reset for Inkaboo as Slosher ends up getting picked off as well for a staggered wipe.
Yes, now this second wipe here, you're in the situation where it's 40 points remain. Everybody all clumped up together from Inkaboo. You get She trying to poke from range, and you get a very aggressive push here from Death, and Death shuts out the Rainmaker, and that leaves the Rainmaker where it stands, and Ruby and She are pushing from the left-hand side of the map. You also get Klebby also popping that Rainmaker open for Dine and Dash here, and both teams kind of just fighting on both sides of the map so far. Kind of interesting to see how what both teams can get out of this one. A lot of yellow paint on the board for Dine and Dash, but they did lose 2 of their own. Rainmaker likely set to reset here, and that is going to be the case. Klebby slightly out of position. That's going to be okay, though. And at the end, Ryan, we are still stuck in the neutral state. Dine and Dash still with the lead with the 40 points remaining.
Yeah, she's going to grab this Rainmaker, try to get some more paint down, and it's going to be Rubies to move forward with that splatter shot, able to find the pick onto Death, but gets picked off of their own, and the E-Leader going down. This Rainmaker is forced to retreat into that Rainmaker free zone. That's going to be 3 down. Dine and Dash advantage here in neutral with that checkpoint to their name.
Well, you have the checkpoint to their name, and I think we look for a lot more. The very mythical right side push, something you don't normally see in a lot of comp games unless the opportunity kind of opens itself up here. They were able to make that work at the end with just an additional 7 points cash in. I love what they decided there as a unit. They tried to make that right side push, work out, even though there is no inkable path to work with, especially with that ramp to keep in mind. So just wanting to see what they can do here. She immediately gets a pick on the Juniper, and Klebby dropped as well, but both teams going 2 for 2 at the end. Points are being cashed in, and that's they go into the backdoor push there, and they cash in on that checkpoint. Ryan, Inkaboo does have a lifeline, and they still could very much be in this one, but they are going to lose 2. They are going to have to retreat.
Yeah, the lifeline there for a real, able to separate Dine and Dash all to that one side. The opening was there, and they went for it and got that checkpoint. The Rainmaker is going to reset, though. No checkpoint on either side, and Rubies is going to try to keep this left side open with a on that E leader gone fishing as well with that Viper trying to move up through the front, but Death is going to roll around the backside to fight for this Rainmaker, which is going to force both Rubis and Panda to back up with She to get that Rainmaker pop.
Something you have to keep in mind now loading into this one. You have 2 specials available. The Zuka is going to get popped there. Trip Strikes all burned at the same time to clear out this mid-sized push here. Death is stamped back to spawn. Express shipping is covered, and that is going to basically, but that at the end is going to lead to Dynadash. They pick up this Rainmaker. Now, 40 seconds left to go on this clock. They are going to get shut down here. What both teams are going to have to recognize, they're only that it's going to be advanced Dynadash because Inkaboo only will have 1 or 2 pushes left with the timer left to go. You have to factor in the potential overtime push here that they have. Dynadash is going to look for greed here as Clavey is going to push onto this left-hand side of the map with 30-ish seconds and still ticking down. They are opting to stall right around this corner. You're going to send 2 people up front to prevent this to prevent any contest of this Rainmaker. She has to throw the Ultra Stamp, and it only gets not the Rainmaker holder for sure. And with about 4 seconds left, Rubize and She are trying to collapse right into them, and Clavey barely stays alive with a sliver of health to secure for Dynadash. Ryan, Dynadash takes it home. It's 1-0 in a pretty interesting map in a map that got interesting within the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was definitely very interesting. Dynadash had a really good push early on, and that is what kept them up, kept them in the lead. And Inkaboo, they had the chance. They saw the opportunity to go steal that checkpoint from Dynadash, but they just were not able to capitalize any further. They got the checkpoint. Dynadash all respawned, found a pick, which forced Inkaboo all the way back, and especially with those Dapple dualies, they've been a nuisance the entire game, always playing around that backside.
And I just love what they did from the initial push, and Dynadash kind of really showing why they had a solid record leading into it. Of course, you noted the buy in round 3, so an effective 9 maps getting played for Dynadash. They still look solid coming into this one. Again, being coached by Matt with 2 managers, Lico and Emma, by the way, managing that group there. Dynadash definitely showing their consistent performances throughout the 7th season here. And then you go look at Inkaboo here again, down 1-0, still definitely a chance to contest here. Tyflo or Tiflo, excuse me, is going to be the one coaching this team, and don't be shocked if there are going to be adjustments from Inkaboo's perspective here. If they want to take home this ship shape TC map, we talked about it from the previous game, how that could be snowballing. Ryan, any expectation you could see from the 2 teams, especially now that they're trying to strategize?
I do expect to still see a mixed attack form that Dynadash showed in that first game, sending one person around the side to mostly just be a distraction, play life, play that traditional skirmisher role, and that's what helped Dynadash keep things going. That's what helped, or that's what made it difficult for the E leader on the side of Inkaboo to have a steady position to try to help the front even. So their eyes were always distracted by some sort of backside flank opportunity, which ended up slowing Inkaboo down. I expect to see a similar type of playstyle from Dynadash heading into Game 2.
And we'll see if they want to replicate the exact same success coming into the second game here. Again, Dynadash 1-0 lead in this semifinals matchup. As we zoom right in, anything interesting to note? The answer is no. No weapons are going to stay the same, and the weapons are going to stay the same from Inkaboo here from both teams. So both teams just wanting to make these compositions work here. How important is it, especially from a backline perspective, especially as yours, Ryan, in terms of positioning in this map? How important is it to position yourselves in the right location?
Positioning is important, but team play is even more important. If you're able to be in the right position, that doesn't mean that you're always going to be able to move up well together. And Inkaboo is doing a really good job with team play here early on, as they're going to move right through this first checkpoint with Panda on this tower, having a large eyesight with a nice pick onto Juniper.
Now we talked about the importance of backlines. Panda delivers a nice little pick there with distance, and this is where that second checkpoint it could get potentially broken through here when you get Clavey and the second sniper Juniper, excuse me, having to try to defend this. So the blue bomb thrown onto the left side gets hit by some sort of terrain, trying to clear off any pathing for sure, but it is going to be the 3 that drops. The Reef Slider does pick up Ruby's ATM from Death, but all that being said and done, it is still control, at least for a little bit, from Inkaboo. Death is still lurking large, trying to see if they can play some sneaky games here with the Davos eliminates Chi off the board, and then the suction bomb being thrown in to prevent Dynadash from having a chance to contest, but it is not going to matter. One suction bomb doesn't do it, and Ryan, all that push being done, still up to the second checkpoint for Inkaboo with plenty of time left. You know how snowbally this map can get.
Yeah, this map can snowball very quickly, so you can't lose it up completely. She playing the left side gets the bucket, and they're going to find the pick. There's the hammer throw, unable to find anything off of that. So this first checkpoint is slowly going to tick down in points and then break. Dynadash tying it up in that checkpoint count, but that Death is going to get picked off anyway. She goes down. Gone Finishing is now trying to hold off the front with that Ultra Stamp. That's going to be 3. And looking for the full wipe. Rubis is going to be forced to back up and get picked off. That's going to be a lead switch. Dynadash now taking advantage up top. She going down in a trade. Juniper with the Stamper playing off this left side. There's those triple ink strikes to push it even further. It's always easy. Your last one up. They need to hit these shots, but with 2 people on the tower, it will not be enough. Dynadash going to roll through 2-0, game number 2 in a knockout.
Almost a tale of 2 different games there, Ryan. From what we saw there, Dynadash down with a big deficit. You saw Inkaboo get an amazing push at the end, but of course, but when the card stacked against Inkaboo going down all at almost near the same time, which just meant that the respawn's definitely not helping them when needed. And again, just kind of a byproduct of how snowbally this map can get if everybody's caught off in the wrong positions there. I mean, this kind of, do know there too, the team play you kind of saw from the first push from Inkaboo was very much solid. It just so happens that Dynadash can pretty much one up them at the same game.
Yeah, like that opening from Inkaboo was almost as perfect as you can get. They had a really good team play. They ended up losing one member in a 1v1 fight, but another one was able to swarm in and finish off of that opposing player very quickly. That's the type of team play I'm talking about. Yeah, you might lose one, but you're still going to have the upper hand at the end of the day. And with Dynadash, their final push there was nothing but zoning and swarming. Similar to how I noted in their key to win, the swarm factor, the playing around the side, is definitely what led up to that one, forcing Inkaboo on top of each other, which led to quick successions of splats.
And now into this game, so kind of a very similar situation we saw from the other semifinals matchup. It is still the 2-0, and you look at Inkaboo here, again, a very solid group. By the way, the average XP is 2K. They finished second in that midseason tourney, losing to 69. Now they're at a point where they may be dropped to a third place matchup. Now, what you saw earlier, by the way, was from the first 2 games, these teams are opting to play these same weapons. So some level of flexibility, not quite there. It's something we gotta keep an eye on is, if they're gonna stick with the same weapons, what do they need to change? And I feel like the team play for this group just needs to be ramped up a bit. I think Inkaboo has their work cut out for them as we're loading into game number 3.
Yeah, the team play can definitely be stepped up a little bit. You got to take those fights together, and they've been showing that pretty well early on into these games. But now it's trying to take that all the way through the complete 5 minutes. No changes on the field here as these teams get rolling on Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz.
Now, Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz, again, the team play is going to exactly matter here for sure, and Dynadash is getting caught off guard. So I love the immediate aggression there. This group from Inkaboo. You know, if you see one, Ruby's 8 is moving forward to get to follow up with the rest of the picks, and that is the first cash in on the board. Now you're going to see these small clans be dished in as well, and Azuka also picks off another member as well. Yes, they did get traded at the end. She trying to see if they can stamp out anybody else. That ult stamp hits the side of the basket, but at the end of the day, Inkaboo keep cutting it down to the halfway marker with 50 points remaining on the board. 45 seconds have elapsed. They already cut it down to 50. We talked about it from the other semifinals matchup. Brian, how 60 points is the threshold for 2 power clams. Inkaboo has just that, but we saw also Dash can also respond back the same way.
Yeah, they definitely can, especially with 2 members of Inkaboo going down. Make that a delayed third one and make that a fourth. This bucket is on a rampage with those triple ink strikes ready to go. Power Clam going to break that basket. Booyah Bomb out. Jumper going in. And that's going to be 2 clams away from the lead. And Dash is going to get completely wiped off the board. 3:30 left on the clock. Inkaboo already in a heavy tank control lead.
But here's something you have to factor in, Ryan. They also used the free clam from the initial push earlier that Inkaboo did. Cut it down to 54. Of course, all investments out the window when Inkaboo cut them down on defense. So it was a great, solid start for them. But Death and Gang has able to shut down Inkaboo once more as Dash definitely showing that they still have a lot of firepower left. But now, here's the thing for Inkaboo. They still got to hold on defense for just a few quick moments. Death has to retreat just a bit. Trying to wait for the group to team to regroup here. Now they got 2 power clamps to work off of, trying to bounce it out and then trying to clear a path. That's what we're seeing from the Booyah Bomb here. The Trip Strike's doing the exact same thing. So is the Reef Slider. Now that Reef Slider could be tricky there. They did lose 3. I think one of them fell out of bounds, but the wipeout is going to be there, and it is just a couple members alive at the end. Does not matter if you lose that power clam out off the board. They are still able to get the lead back anyway. 33 points remaining and still keeping up with this momentum. And Juniper gets another big. Panda is gone off the board. Gone fishing. Wishes they've gone fishing for maybe a few quick moments. But at the end of the day, Dash still keeping this pressure up, Ryan.
Yeah, huge chance there, and that was a huge wipe for Dash to keep things going. 15 points remaining on the board. Power Clam is built. Death is going to jump in to finish it off. Just a little bit out of range. He can run forward, and none of the shots hit. Dash is able to sneak by this one, getting a knockout of their own to clean things up 3-0 into their favor.
3-0 for Dash. Again, massive credits to Inkaboo coming in to this one. Man, a lot of fights won initially, just could not piece everything together. And I just love the focus on aggression there. You know, the swarming tactics that Dash had, especially with the group that with 6 weeks of comp experience under their belt, they honed in on that swarming strategy there from their coach Matt from their coach Matt. And it starts, and that value is definitely showing there as well. Inkaboo, you kind of saw multiple opportunities to put it all together at the end, but just not able to hold there. But a lot of great things here from Inkaboo with again a top 4 finish, pending the 3rd place matchup again. One of their members, by the way. So you know how we called out Panda the E-Litter? Apparently YouTube were with 10,000 subs as well. So. This backlane extraordinaire definitely did some work. Just need to piece it all together. But they'll take home a top 4 finish. That is pending the 3rd place matchup. And Inkaboo's still solid. They so solid to go through. But now we got to look at the finals matchup here, Ryan. 6ix9ine versus Dash.
Yeah, Dash, as we said multiple times, with their coach being Matt, they definitely played to how Matt likes to play. Matt definitely loves to have that. with the first mode going over to tower control of these previous 2 sets that I've mentioned between these teams, they've only played tower control once, and that was on Inkblot Art Academy, where 6ix9ine ended up getting that victory in the mid-season tournament. Earlier today, they did not play tower control at all, and we're going over to Hagglefish Market for this one, which is a lot more open, which definitely plays into that skirmish style.
And I want to see, and we all want to see who can out skirmish the other here. We saw that Dynadash was able to pull off the exact same was able to pull off the stops, from the previous set this exact same way, and then 6ix9ine, of course, from that other semifinals matchup, just being able to send their roller and make it all work out. And hey, look at this, Ryan. We get to see why Hagglefish tower control for a lot of these players somewhat newish to seeing why this is played pretty much often. It is a very neutral sort of map here that both teams have to load in on. So I think, Ryan, from what we saw from both teams earlier today, should be a lot of fun. I'm hoping this set becomes a lot of fun for everybody to watch. You and I and the spectators out there.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this does end up turning about, because we are going to have the battle of mobility versus chip damage.
Which one is gonna win the most? This is the ultimate question. So the timer is slowly ticking down here. Ryan, again, a culmination of the progress every team has got up here, and something to also note: this is technically a 1 versus 2 matchup for whatever it is worth here from a seeding perspective. I'm sure that that's all going to matter at the end. But what matters at the end here, both teams here trying to get their strategies all lined up. You make it to grand finals at the end here, Ryan. Do you expect that both teams could get potentially nervous?
Yeah, I could definitely see some nerves rolling with these teams, but they've been into these top 4 situations before. Let's see how they will end up turning out, as Dynadash is going to roll back out with 6ix9ine is going to roll back out with a Wellstring of their own next to that Dynamo roller with those Dapples and the Sticker Stamper returning on the side of Dynadash.
Let's not forget that Stefano has the S+91. That's the one with the Booyah Bomb that they're dishing out as well. From the previous set, we saw them just run the, I believe, the regular blaster, that was there, or actually it was custom blaster, pardon me there as well. But look at what 6ix9ine is trying to do. They're trying to play with a lot of control. They're not allowing Dynadash to get any skirmishes off. Into this neutral state we go. A couple members drop from Dynadash, and it is going to be 6ix9ine right in this tower onto the right-hand side. They send 3 members to try up to the ramp, up to the base, to prevent Dynadash from moving forward. And Ryan, with the way that tempo is showing, it almost worked out. Will they clear the first checkpoint? The answer is yes, but that's likely all it's going to be as Juniper slashes down Leon.
Yeah, and now it's only that Swatana Wiper Sinker with that Ultra Stamp rolling all the way through, finding one, looking for a second, but gets taken out right before that hammer throw. And we're back into this neutral game. Advantage for 6ix9ine after getting that first checkpoint. But now it's going to be the Slosher playing this left side for an opportunity. There goes that Re-Slider to open up the middle, and 3 members going down.
Ooh. Yeah, 3 members make that a delayed wipe, and Dynadash is starting to pick up the tempo themselves. They see the first push, they're trying to respond with the second. Juniper throwing that Booyah Bomb to the right-hand side, forces Sinker down. Sinker is cut down by Juniper, and now rejoins Death to send the other members back to spawn, and that will be the lead changing hands. But the question is, for how long will this push keep going? The answer appears to be not for long. Clavey is still alive, actually gets a trade, but all it is going to be a trade. The delayed wipe is there. 6ix9ine holds the line, but you see both teams, look at the scores they have pushed from each of their respective pushes, down to about the 40s, basically, looking really close.
Yeah, Sinker, a really nice shark there, able to find a nice pick, make that 2. There's that Ultra Stamp, trying to find anything they can, but 2 members going down, both of them playing that objective, forcing Sinker to back all the way up to their side of mid. No lead switch yet, 1 point difference between these 2 teams, and we're halfway through Game 1.
Halfway through Game 1. Now both teams holding the line just a bit here around this neutral side. Juniper trying to duel against Stefano. They are going to get shut down. Leon gets the secure at the end of the day. The wipeout is secured. Sinker goes into the flow aura state with that wiper, and it's going to try to pressure on Dyna Dash. It's an open opportunity for 6ix9ine to get the lead here, and they are understanding the assignment. Sinker is cut down, though. There is a poke with the blaster that eliminates one. Juniper basically in no man's land. The trip strike trying to force everybody out, but that is not going to amount to much here as 6ix9ine cuts down everybody else, and that is going to be the second checkpoint being cleared. 2 members have gone down. Also, Juniper's gone on top of it. You get to see the rush through, though, from Dyna Dash to prevent the tower from moving in onto the 3rd checkpoint. Can they clear the 3rd checkpoint? That's the question. The answer appears to be no at this point in time, but they are allowing the jumps to come in. The push is only steadily jumping in, and they are able to keep the tower control alive here. Ryan, and this is looking to be 6ix9ine. They're looking for the KO, but they lose 3 of their own.
Yeah, make that 4, but
what?
3, leaving Juniper the last one up on Dyna Dash to get mid control on their own, getting those jumps back into mid. Booyah Bomb out to try to displace and take advantage off of that, but that auto bomb definitely slowed down the push for Dyna Dash, as this Dynamo Roller is going to get picked off on the side to open up Dyna Dash for another push opportunity.
Now another push has opened up on the board with a couple members dropped, basically less than a minute to go. The thing that Dyna Dash has to deal with is they have to clear the checkpoint. 6ix9ine gets through the 2nd checkpoint. Again, famously a checkpoint that can easily be in the defense's favor here, but the staggers are pretty much in line. You get 1 member that has dropped. 3 trip strikes all used, trying to spread the team apart here. Clavey trying to see what they can do with this slosh that they had, but Death rolls right in with the restart. Eats a lot of damage, but is able to escape with their lives. Now the Booyah Bomb being used is going to try to zone them out. Now this is going to be a prime opportunity here. Ryan with 2 members that have dropped. You still have Stefano, who is going to get eliminated, but look at Sinker. Sinker is going to go down. There's the 2nd checkpoint cleared. They're looking to get to the 3rd checkpoint here soon. The trip strike's being thrown in. They're onto the 3rd checkpoint. The lead does indeed change hands with 5 seconds to go, but they all have to just ride on the tower for dear life, and that's all it was. Right at the last 20 seconds, Dyna Dash steals the lead at the thick of dawn, and Dyna Dash goes up 1-0 in this grand finals.
I was worried for Dyna Dash once Sinker was on that backside, but Chili on that tower with that Snipe Rider 5H was able to turn around and find that pick onto Sinker cleanly without losing a member, making a numbers advantage fight for Dyna Dash the rest of the way. They're able to stay on this tower, and with 6ix9ine riding through as far as they can, just not having enough paint or time to build up a special to stop that tower.
That first map kind of was a roller coaster of emotions, I think, for both teams involved there, to say the least. I mean, Dyna Dash pretty much locked in when it mattered at the end, and that's what got us through. 6ix9ine definitely trying to give Dyna Dash a run of their money. Feels like it's trying to live up to the 5 games we saw that they had to deal with in the mid-season side 3 weeks ago. So, still some fresh memories to say the least. I mean, Ryan, you can kind of feel the adrenaline is kind of pumping here from Dyna Dash, especially with that last 15 seconds. I think both teams will have to realize they got to relax a bit, because they are going to be going to Scorch Gorge Clan Blitz coming up here, and I think the focus at hand is focus on the next map, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and if you want to go back down memory lane, we talked about how tower control was played out once. Well, this map on this mode was played both times.
Crazy.
And it was split. In the mid-season event, it ended up going to 6ix9ine, and earlier in Swiss, it went over to Dyna Dash.
really kind of just came down to just the margins at the end. It felt like if that encapsulated everything that we saw, it kind of feels the exact same way. Scorch Gorge Clan Blitz is coming up here. I know 6ix9ine, that is a bit of a heartbreak right around the last 10 seconds of the game, but the goal is to refocus here, trying to get ourselves back in tune here. Dyne Dash is, I think, gonna just roll back with the same weapons here. Do you think 6ix9ine would make any adjustments from what we saw, especially from what we saw today?
I honestly don't know if they're going to make any adjustments. They've played really well early today. We saw them playing in the other semifinals and earlier in Swiss, but I don't think there is going to be much of a change. If anything, maybe no S-Blast. We might see a little bit more of that custom blaster or normal blaster with the bubbler. Bubbler splashdown are both really good at holding control, and something like that is an idea that they might want to bring, especially against a Snipe Rider on the other side.
I'm going to keep an eye on as we load into game 2, and they are going to be seeing double rollers. The staple is back once more, and to no surprise, they're going to stick with the same weapons from Dyne Dash here. Dyne Dash, by the way, rolling as we've noted before with a perfect set record, and they're trying to, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Definitely the understanding here. 6ix9ine back to the double roller setup. We saw a go how Puppy just did a lot of damage from the Undertow Rainmaker Man. Looking to see if they can do the exact same here in this roller setup so far. Only a member dropping. Both teams entering neutral here. Ryan, as we load right in.
Yeah, trying to keep things going. Neutral game throughout the start, and it's going to be Puppy and this Wiper moving up together. Booyah Bomb out, trying to punish the jumper, but the Booyah Bomb's able to take out one. That's 2 members going down. 6ix9ine forced to back up all the way, as it's going to be the Stamper to push top mid and that Wellstring all the way back.
Yeah, right now, so far, Dyne Dash kind of just having to play this one a little bit patiently. They did both rollers, by the way, gone, because Death has carved out an opening. Death is going to be their main guy. They are sending forward to try to clear out the path, and Chili throws in the Power Clam to open the basket here. But the question is there going to be any follow-up small clams? Does not appear to be so quite yet. Juniper and Clavey still providing a lot of pressure, but they haven't carved out the path for Chili to get the 3 small clams in. It's a one-and-done push. At the end of the day, yes, you get points on the board, but they probably were looking for the right time to strike, but they at least kept the pressure going. They may be able to get another push on the board, especially if the trip strikes provide a lot of paint that they're looking for. And Clavey's playing this one very patiently. They're up against this Dynamo, and I think, Ryan, they're just gonna wait for the right opportunity to strike.
Yeah, they are trying to reset and throw the clan back to their Sniper Rider, but they get picked off by a nice hammer throw by Leon. Now, the opportunity for 6ix9ine with that Ultra Stance of their own. One Power Clam in from Sinker. Leon rolls in with a Power Clam of their own, getting that lead flip into the name of 6ix9ine. Sinker now, few clams of their own, able to get one of them in. 2 members down, make that 3. It's only Leon. They're going to move up to get another clam in on the board for delayed wipe, but a huge push to their name, 49 points.
But look at Clippy, by the way. They have picked up Flow Aura State as well. They're trying to provide the next opening, but where is a Power Clam? They are going to have to look for the rest of the clams to follow suit. They did lose Clavey there on a duel. 6ix9ine gets everybody else, though. Just the lone pencil, the only one alive is a lone Sniper Rider, going to have to just look to retreat at the end. And we break down that push down to the 51 points remaining for 6ix9ine. Very, very solid for sure. I understand Sinker is their main focus here, trying to get the openings through. They throw in another Power Clam to keep the aggression going. Something that you normally see with teams trying to get their feet wet is they're just trying to rush in pushes, even if they have a Power Clam that's really available, but but in certain situations may not be the wisest idea, because that does open the basket the other way, and Dyne Dash trying to respond with a response of their own. They get wiped out instead, and it's only 64 points remaining, not quite enough for the lead change, and 6ix9ine, Ryan, at the end of the day, hold.
Yeah, they hold on to that lead And it's now going to be 6-9 with a bubble of their own to push up very quickly early on. Sinker is going to overextend a little bit, going down into a 1v3 as Puppey backs up all members playing right near each other, and Puppey's able to find a nice pick onto Death, avoiding it that time as a Sinker now going to take a fight. Booyah Bomb out from Juniper, and it's going to be Juniper to find the pick onto Sinker in return. They go down though, 3v3 on the field, but advantage to Dine and Dash as they are able to slowly move up into mid.
And we see down to 59 seconds left. There is that power climb. It is going to get picked up here. There's still an opening that Dine and Dash can certainly do. We saw it before. They were able to pull it off in game 1. Here's that opening. The first trip strike goes through. Now Death is trying to move right in. Everybody from 6-9 are gonna understand that. They collapse onto them. 2 members gone in a near instant. Passion set with that Dynamo Roller sends them all back to spawn, and now the 2 power clams readily available. They could look to play defense, or they could look to extend the lead to make sure there is no doubt for them, as right now we do get to see the Wellstring and everybody else trying to move right forward. There's the bubble that is being used by Puppey. They're throwing this power clam forward to try to get points on board, which they certainly did. It's down to the 45 points remaining. I think that power clam is just short of the basket once more, but that may not matter. They keep the basket open with about 5 seconds left. Now, overtime is going to be guaranteed here from Dine and Dash. They still have a chance to strike here. Quick math right away. 1 power clam plus 6 small clams for that lead change if they want to swipe lead the other direction. They got 2 power clams to work with, but they lose 2 of their own. Clavy is trying to throw trip strikes to carve out a path. They aren't able to do so. The wipeout is there. 6-9 does indeed hold the line, and 6-9 equalizes the set. It's a 1-1 tie coming in to game 3.
Rolling it all the way back from that mid-season event. Similar story as well. Dine and Dash took game 1, and the 6-9 ended up taking 2. Back to a 1-1 set overall, as we are going to head over to Splat Zones on Umami Ruins for game number 3. And Dine and Dash, they had the momentum a lot of that game, but 6-9 was able to shut it down very quickly. And once they were able to push Dine and Dash back, they just had a hard time getting pushed back into their own spawn and getting wiped.
You kind of see the vision that Dine and Dash tried to do to make it a 2-0 set for them, but 6-9 definitely understood what they were trying to do. What there at the end, that was so close. Literally razor thin margins once more in both maps. You could literally flip a coin and you could lead to a different result each go round. And right, that Scorch Clambless could have not gone any closer there for both teams. I do appreciate the aggression that they were showing. So it's a great, but at the end, it's 6-9 that gets that last lap, and again, an equalizer for 6-9 with that 1-1. Now you're on to this Umami Ruins Zones map, which again, a 2-zone map, and players coming into this are gonna have to recognize how do you get control of both zones to get the cap and then keep it going.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It does play very, very similar to maps they've played on previously with Barnacle and Dime, but never a 2-zone map. These teams have not faced each other on a 2-zone map throughout the time they've gone up against each other in the mid-season and this event. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The mobility is definitely something I want to keep an eye on, though, especially with mid being as it is, being a hill in the way.
For teams somewhat newish to comp, what is usually the plan attack for either team to get both control zones? You just try to attack both sides, or do you focus on eliminating everybody else and then paint afterwards?
Many people are early on with zones, with 2-zone maps, try to look at the zone first. But with Umami Ruins, I think people need to look at it a little bit differently. It's less about the zone and more about the space control you can get. So maybe sending a person up to that top mid area, not necessarily to fight the zone, but to fight the people that are going after the zones.
That do we think both coaches will be doing it the same way, especially with how Matt, you noted the exact same way with Dyne and Dash, a very swarm heavy setup. I think with Dyne and Dash, they've always had a couple members swarm against 6ix9ine, and I know Riv and its group, Coach Riv, excuse me, and its group usually have Sinker moving forward. So I feel like that's kind of where the theory definitely holds, and I think both teams will have to look for plans of attack again. As you know, both teams gained their adventure in this 2-zone map coming up here, and time are ticking down. And Ryan, but I think both teams are spending some time having to figure out what the strategy is. I'd imagine, especially if Dyne and Dash are just going to run back the same weapons anyway.
Yeah, but if you don't see someone dive that top mid, they're probably going to dive through their own right zone to try to go around the backside. That way, so they have people that are painting behind them on top of pressuring the people that are fighting for their own zone as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if no matter which way it goes, but the S-Blast 91 is going to be returning over that regular roller, Stefano rolling back with that blaster.
Yeah, rolling back with the S-Blast 91. We saw it in game number 1 with 6ix9ine, trying to see if they can make it work, and it's exactly what you know. There's a couple members eliminated, opens the floor for 6ix9ine, and now you get to see Sinker dive into the backline, but not able to get the elimination. And it's kudos to Chili staying alive when they absolutely needed it, but the zone points slowly ticking down. Now we're seeing ticks of these points slowly go through, but everything kind of leaking a bit here for 6ix9ine. They're having to see if they can get themselves regrouped, and now you kind of see both teams suck into this neutral side. Death reach sliders in, eliminates one, but there's one member alive on both sides. It's just a sniper and a wall string, and 6ix9ine is gonna get the one cap of the zone. I think we'll be seeing a bit of neutral for about a minute or so here, Ryan, but both teams aggressively battling for it.
Yeah, and with that opening as well, we saw one team go top mid. The other team did go around the side, both ways of attack, and 6ix9ine ended up getting the upper hand on that, continuing to hold the zone, forcing other members of Dyne and Dash to jump out. They pushed it past that 50-point mark, and Sinker able to find the pick of their own to slow down the Dyne and Dash retake even further.
If any point still ticking down is going to be a huge win for 6ix9ine. Even if you eliminated a few, that's Clavey eliminates Passion. Now that is going to be a member down. That's going to matter a lot. That's a double right away from Clavey. The triple there from Clavey, looking for 4. That's 4 from Clavey. Clavey's looking for a 5th. Clavey is going to find the 5th member down, and that is Dyne and Dash off the back of Clavey, getting both caps of the zone, and now they're looking for the counterattack.
Yeah, Clavey taking advantage from their other teams, taking those fights. Finding 5-4-1 in that situation. Booyah Bomb trying to force the members of 6ix9ine forward, playing an early retake, but Stefano able to find the pick onto that Snipe Rider. 2 members going down, working with Sinker along this back side. Cleavey going down. That's going to be a delayed wipe on the side of Dyne and Dash, as 6ix9ine are going to take very fast advantage here, pushing all the way up to that dome, ditching mid.
I love what Sinker is at least trying to do, trying to slow down Dyne and Dash, knowing that the penalty points are gonna have to slowly get out, are gonna have to slowly get to 0 at some point. So gonna absolutely loving what Sinker's trying to do, and Stefano trying to follow it up with some backup here, but they did lose a couple of their own. They may have to give up both zones and just have to reset again. That's gonna fly right in, and there's the cap of both zones, and that is Passion down. Now 2 members dropped. Stefano not in the best position, is gonna get dropped due to the aggression from Dyne and Dash, and that at the end of the day is Dyne and Dash still continuing forward with this aggressive momentum. And Ryan, this is now 6ix9ine stuck at base, and Dyne and Dash is gonna get the penalty points gone.
Yeah, and now with Chili playing this forward position, this is what you like to see from your longest ranged weapon. They're just up there. They're holding a lot of space down for their team, but going 2 down, Dyne and Dash is going to lose the full control of the zone, as 6ix9ine is going to move in to take fights of their own and look for a cap. But Stefano going down on that far side zone, death with that reslider. It's going to be Dash to control, but not for much longer. As it's going to be an insta cap for 6ix9ine just to add some penalty points.
That huge cap from 6ix9ine, adding penalty points on the board, only delaying it a little bit further. They got the trip strikes ready to go from Clavey. Now 2 members have gone down. It is going to be down to the minute left on the clock. Clavey is still trying to look for cleanup here. Stefano immediately gets one, looking to see if they can win the duel against Clavey, as Clavey can't find Stefano. They end with a trade. That was beautiful. At the end, Stefano eliminating Clavey, and now we're on to this neutral position at the end. 45 seconds left to go here, and Ryan, both teams still battling for it.
Yeah, trying to move through. Death goes down, trying to hold onto this zone, but there's always one person of Dash playing that off angle, playing around that backside. They're going to get a trade there, and Death is going to jump right in. Leon sees it now, but this zone still in favor of Dash. Death ends up going down, working with their team. Leon is able to hold up this top mid and to keep control going for 6ix9ine.
Yeah, and now 10 seconds left, and as Clavey is going to get eliminated, they have to get the cap now. That's the only way they can get overtime, but that is 6ix9ine. They're definitely and successfully holding the line by the end, and and again, the point difference is only coming down to some huge plays at the end. 6ix9ine up 2-1. One more, they are your winners of the showcase here today, and 6ix9ine definitely still staying strong even with the huge lead, and the lead could have potentially slipping away, but they're holding it very well.
Yeah, trying to run back what they did in that mid-season tournament. We are now at match point, going to one of the fastest maps in the game.
Oh, man,
on what could be the fastest mode, Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track. And if you want to talk mobility, Dash has Dash in their name.
That is very true. Now, they will have to piece together how to take advantage of how speedy this map can get. And for those who are just trying to figure out how I best describe a volatile map like Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, for those who are unfamiliar, this is a map mode where you have the checkpoints on both sides. Okay, that's one thing, but because the path to the goal is so deceptively short and the map is so condensed, both teams will have to understand, especially and the coaches probably definitely understand from their previous experience, but to realize, all right, this map can get out of control if you're not in the right place not in the right place whatsoever. So I think there's gonna be a case where we could be seeing a lot of huge leads that could get lost, or both teams kind of surprisingly staying neutral the entire way through. And I know Ryan, for Dash, if there's a time to strike, it is gonna be on this Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker to force a game 5.
Yeah, force a game 5, match point in favor of 6ix9ine, and Dash is on the back foot. They ended up getting third. Even if they lose this, one, they have still improved their placement from that mid-season event. This time in a rematch for the grand finals. So here we go. Dash, they're gonna look to be fast.
And how important is it to be fast in a map mode like this, especially with the team that has pretty much done a lot of damage from just being able to hold at the right time.
Yeah, for a map like Humpback Pump Track, or for Rainmaker in general, it's all about the timing. You want to be fast with your mindset, not necessarily your in-game play. Yes, you can run forward and say that's fast, but you need to be able to realize when is a good time. I should just sit here, stall, wait for a better opportunity, and when is the time to just book it, dash it all the way down.
And I feel both, and especially with teams that. Especially with the players here who are trying to get a feel for All right, is it our time to move forward, or do we want to wait a bit to look for the perfect opportunity to feel like you can get those two combating trains of thought here? Again, it is championship point here in the showcase for 6ix9ine. Dying Dash looking to force a game 5 coming to this one, and I do see the heavy edit coming out here, by the way, from Chili. Chili goes away from the pencil to make this happen, and for the side of 6ix9ine here, Double Roller is the one that's coming out here. Again, look for Puppy to do a lot of damage. Puppy immediately calls out their name, gets caught out with Clavey, and that is both rollers done. And Dying Dash, at least with an initial advantage here, Sinker is trying to jump right in. They get the trade onto Clavey. I mean, Ryan, if anything, if we are going to be stuck in a neutral state for probably a little bit, as both teams are trying to look for the advantages that they're looking for.
Yeah, multiple going down, and there goes that tacticooler in favor of Dying Dash. Clavey now playing this right side, but with 2 members down, they're able to find one of their own. They're just going to play stall in neutral to try to slow down 6ix9ine as much as possible. Chili playing that high ground as much as they can, but high ground can only go so far, especially around this corner that can go down so quickly. And the triple ink strikes are going to find the pick onto Leon holding that Rainmaker, so no checkpoint will go down just yet.
Yeah, no checkpoint down. Now you got Puppy popping this bubble to try to protect a potential first checkpoint here, which they are able to do with a couple members that have dropped. Now this opens the door for 6ix9ine here. By the way, look at Sinker, by the way, who is sharking on this right hand side, but they think they got spotted by some paint, so they have to just hit, saying let's go, and Juniper almost trying to make this one happen, and the collision with the wall happened, and Passion sneaks through, and that's gonna be that. All of that happening within 3 seconds. The power of back pump track Rainmaker does its deal. 6ix9ine wins the set and the showcase with a 3-1 finish, and that is 6ix9ine showing how that map is done.
Yeah, I'm moving it all the way through, and that's what I mean by it doesn't matter if you are fast, it matters if you can think fast. When is that right time to move forward? Rainmaker ended up going down. Puppy ended up going forward to use that big bubbler to get that checkpoint, and then that's all they needed to do. They didn't need to rush that checkpoint. They just need to set their team up to get that checkpoint. And once they sent Sinker forward to play right under that ledge, they had the hammer ready to go. And they used that hammer to lead their team in a nice line to that final pedestal. So no one on the side of Dying Dash can shut them down, giving 6ix9ine the win for the Academy Showcase Season number 7.
Season 7 Showcase belonging to 6ix9ine. Absolutely love their performance there as well. The coach, Red Manager, Winry, and the gang just showing a ton of progress, and definitely showed why they were a good team. Again, massive shout outs to Dying Dash group that definitely showed they had a lot of firepower, a lot of fight within them. Just quit, but at the end of the day, 6ix9ine took it home. Again, shout outs to Coach Matt, Lico, and Emma. By the way, the rest of the players, all of you guys getting shout outs for participating in Season 7. At Ryan here as well. I'll note something about Season 8 here by the end, but Ryan, that was fun casting all the semifinals and the finals matchup with you. I'm gonna send you this. Where can the people find you first before I take you guys home?
You guys can find me over on any social media platform at V4P0R _SPL. Find me on Blue Sky at V4P0R.broadcastbeep.com, and find me pretty much anywhere. Feel free to DM me.
We'll find you somewhere. By the way, find me on Blue Sky or on Twitch, Kion2570. You'll probably see me wherever you find me pretty much all the time as well. By the way, shoutouts to the staff hosting the show, hosting this at the SBA all together, the Academy, if you will. I mean, I love to see all the new players get a taste of what comp really feels like, the exhilaration and everything for that. And for those who are watching and who want to get a taste of comp yourselves, I should let you guys know that sign up for the next season of SBA Season 8 is open. If you want to get a chance to hop in, make sure to sign up wherever you whenever you can. And again, you guys can go through the same experience of 6 weeks of mentoring and coaching, leading to the tournament that everybody today got to go through on stream. Again, sign-ups very much open for Season 8 of the Stronghold Beginners Academy, or SBA, if you will. If you want to apply for it as well, of course, SplatoonStronghold.com/academy being the place to check it out. Also, another shout-outs to Ari Kitty, by the way, our amazing producer, providing us all the shots as well, and of course the fellow TOs. I think I've yapped long enough here, but before we sign off, here, we got an ad to show you guys. But with producer Ari and my co-com friend, buddy man's Ryan. This is Kill saying, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you guys for another edition of the SBA or the Beginners Academy. We'll see you guys next time.
You want to get started in competitive Splatoon, but don't know how to? The Stronghold offers a free Beginners Academy service for new players wanting to play Splatoon competitively. We want to make it as easy as possible for new players to join competitive. We'll create teams out of applicants and train you through a season, providing scrims, practices, and coaching. At the end of the season, teams that graduate will play in their first community tournament. Graduating teams will be given a free logo and invited to play in the invite-only Academy Showcase event, where they get to play on stream and show off the skills they've learned in the Academy. So what are you waiting for? Apply for the Academy today using the link on screen.